Let's see. Getting Facebook up and going for today. Harashan Shalom. Yam, Yam Shalom on this first day of the week, the rising. Let's see. Alrighty. We're gonna do it's a review, yet it's not a review of what we've been talking about with the 12 pillars of wisdom. It's not exactly a 12 pillars of wisdom review. And by the way, people, if you want to do Q&A today, we can do that as well. But we're going to deal with a word the way the world looks at it, but we're going to talk about the way the world sees us and why it's important that we utilize these 12 pillars of wisdom and use them correctly in our walk and in our life, because we have a lot of Greco-Roman mentality when it comes to certain words, and we're going to focus on those today. Mm-hmm. Prayerfully, you guys are doing all right, though. Alrighty, hold on 1 second. Of course, just trying to act up some. I think we. All right, we got. Alrighty, I just got to get the podcast up and going, and then we can go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being on, as always. Thank you again. We appreciate you. We're going to talk about something from a different perspective. As you guys know, we're going to talk about cultural perspective as we're getting ready to come on. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer. And it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect this message. Amen. Um, um, so, once again, Hashan Shalom. Shalom to everybody. Anai Kofi. Mashalom Khe. Hola, mi nombre es Kofi. Bonjour, je m'appelle Kofi. Habari, Jambo, Mimini Kofi, Nina Franco, Katana Nueve. Hello to everybody on all these different platforms. We're still pulling up the podcast with everybody else who's on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. We appreciate you for being on. Trying to share this real quick so everybody can see it. Thankful and grateful for you all, for being on. We're excited sharing this with everybody on Facebook. We're thankful and grateful to you all, and excited. I'm getting back in the swing of things. This is kind of my last off day, so to speak. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and get into this. So, but we're going to talk about a specific word today, and we're hope that you guys will get how this ties into the 12 pillars of wisdom. So this is a Q&A or a review, so to speak. Yet it's going to go. We're going to roll with this a little differently than what we've been talking about and discussing. And thank you to everybody for being on. We appreciate you taking time out to spend with us today, and to learn with us today, and to grow with us today, and to prayerfully learn some new things and grasp some new things and gravitate towards a different culture, a different mindset, a different thought process that's going to prayerfully continue to bless us as it's been blessing myself and others here. And so we're excited about this opportunity. And I want to thank the leadership once again, those who are on the ministerial staff, for what we did on the podcast yesterday. You guys are amazing, or outstanding and incredible, and we're thankful for you guys continuing to do great things. And almost finished on the podcast, setting that up, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So, all right, looks like we're great to go. Prayerfully, you guys have started your day off well once again. And I'm going to take time out to get into the swing of things. Just got to make sure signal is all right with one more thing. And I believe we're done as far as just getting ready. Rather, we're not done, but we can get started. Alrighty, so thank you for being on. Once again, we give all honor and praise to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise to Him for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And you can check her out on the tinctures that she sells and different things she does as far as natural medicine or consultations at Bloom and Flourish. Not A-N-D, but the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. And you can find her on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest. And thanks for being on. The Queen is on right now. I appreciate you and love you so much, babe. To Marshawn, Malcolm, Betty, Isabella, and Solomon, Daddy loves you very much. To everybody, to our family, to our staff, to those who agree with us, disagree with us. It's your first time on with us, first time of many, prayerfully. Nevertheless, if it's your first time, uh, one time of many, um, whichever platform you're coming on, once again on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, or the podcast, we appreciate you so very, very much. Hello to everybody. I see you, Sister Beverly, Sister Dawn, Sister Rhonda, um, Sister Betty, Sister Bounty Blessings, Tamika. Thank you, HB Natty. Appreciate you. You say Yahweh, yes, because it's Yad Che Vav Che, Yahweh. So I simply just say the characters in place. So why couldn't you say all that before the line, my brother? What, to say thank you to everybody? I'm not sure what you mean by that. But yeah, that's something that we give a greeting to everybody. But anyways, hello Deja, hello Minister Nice, and to the moderators as well. We thank you, we appreciate you. I'm doing well, butterflies and rainbows. Thank you. I hope you're doing well as well. Um, Key Troy, Miko, everybody. Alrighty. And I will do my best as always. If it's your first time, I try my best to get to everybody's comments, questions, and concerns. We have it coming on multiple platforms. If for some reason I don't get to your comment or your question, your concern right away, so if you're on TikTok, you can feel free to put it in the Q&A box. If you're on another platform, just feel free to put it in the comment section, or the chat section rather, and I'll get to you. If you're trying to figure out ways to get in contact with us for further conversation on some of these things, or to be involved with some of the things that we do in the community, or if there's certain things that caught your ear, inviting for life coaching, marital coaching, podcast, all types of things that we try to make sure that we're there for. If you want to help out with us giving out clothing, et cetera, feel free to contact us. If you're interested in the land project, if you're interested in Patreon, if you're interested in making sure that you help us with ownership of the land, if you're interested in a whole bunch of different things, we want to make sure that we are available to you as much as possible. I am getting back in the swing of things, so getting back to you might be a few days out, as far as at least setting up, if we need to set up some kind of meeting or something like that. However, we will get back to you ASAP, and I know we're behind with many. So this week we're gonna get into it and get ready to go get it. So we're thankful and grateful once again for an opportunity to be in front of you. And as you guys who've been with us know, we just finished our latest series that we were doing. Shalom, Rebecca, how you doing? Where we were talking about forgive me, 12 pillars of wisdom. Remember that wisdom is a domain in which wise things are set inside of. So if you have a queendom or a kingdom, then your domain must be worthy of a queen or a king. Or you could even flip it to where if you have a queendom or a kingdom, you need to do some things that cause you as a queen or king to be dominant. Right, but we focused more on the domain that wise things go inside of. And when we talked about that, we talked about the 12 pillars. The 12 pillars are as such. You have to first you have to make sure things are systematic and systemic, right? Systematic and systemic. What does that mean? That means that basically you have to put things in place on purpose, and then you have to also make sure that you put things in place that will continue to move, whether you are moving them yourselves or not. What is the system that you have in place, and how well does it continue to move? Next, then we talked about being knowledgeable of something. Are you able to be intimate with it to the point of causing it to bear fruit? Even generational wealth, things of that nature, but also, are you able to put things in place that are systematic and systemic, that once you put them there, you don't have to worry about it and it bears fruit all the time, right? No matter what you're going through, if you're going through bad times, you have a system set up to where the bad times become the great times, right? And thanks, I don't know, is it Ashww, Grand Rising to you. Then the next thing after that we talked about was the third pillar. The third pillar was being a game changer, right? Game changers have to be able to go within the rules of the game, but also to use talents and callings and blessings and all these different things that they have to be able to take it to the next level, to where, since we've set up something systematically and systemically for ourselves, when they even try to push you out the game, you can take your game and still be able to utilize it in your own system, which is something that we as a people, as a diaspora, have been missing for quite some time. That's been one of our missing ingredients. Hello, how you doing, Robert? Then from there, we went from being a game changer to talking about, um, redemption. And to redeem something, we learned, base in its most basic form, just means to reconsider. So to redeem means to reconsider. If somebody says I have been redeemed, they're saying I have been reconsidered. And if you have been redeemed through the system, then you have to reconsider things correctly. You cannot consider them the same way you did. If you are considered, if you get redeemed or reconsidered and are still trying to consider things, from the perspective of the oppressor, then you're going to have some problems. Shalom, Sister Christine. From there, then we went to the fifth pillar of wisdom, which is vision, purpose, and value. If I have the vision in place and I have the purpose, which is daily manifestation getting me towards the vision, then I should. The missing ingredient sometimes can be I don't value what's there. So, do you have the value system? Do you put the worth on it? Do you put the effort into whatever it is that you say that you are, in fact, supposed to do, that nobody else on this planet can do? From there, then we talked about, etymology. Etymology not being the study of a word, but the study of what the word comes out of. Hey, big brother Thomas, how you doing? So we went from there, right? Um, you know, what do I desire most? Well, to please the Most High, to be a great husband, to be a great father, to make sure my community's best. However, the easiest way is just to give you my mission statement or my vision statement, which is really one and the same, which is, that I am trying to change lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. That's that's what it is for me, and that's what we're trying to do here, on these platforms and all over the world, really in locations all over the place with people all over the place. All right, from there, then we went to the seventh pillar of wisdom. The seventh pillar of wisdom is eschatology. Eschatology is not the study of the end times, but it is the study of what will last. So we talked about you got to make sure that you're doing things that will last. It's not just important that you do something and say, cool, I did this one thing, but I'm going to have to go to battle again every day. And a lot of us do that same thing, right? Where we have to keep battling the same thing, same subject matter, same process, same, we haven't really learned or done things or whatever, but instead, let's do something that will last. Number eight after that was cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation helps us to make sure that once we have the culture together, we have the system together, we're making sure that we're doing things where we've reconsidered, and everything that comes through this pipeline in this system is reconsidered. Now we're able to get to another level. Number nine after that, we talked about, accept humiliation. Can you accept being humble? Sometimes being humbled is the greatest strength for you, right? And we talked about this in a cultural perspective. We're not saying somebody should come by and be able to make you, a doormat. We're saying that there are times where the worst of situations is actually going to teach you the best of situations, right? We talked about how many of the greatest businesses to ever exist have come out of so-called depressions, where everybody else was depressed. Somebody else reconsidered, redeemed that depression as the time to start something of extreme value and began to do things at levels that people have not seen. From there, number 10, we talked about the fact that, after you come out of that, number 10, we talked about that you have to, get into a place of where you are dealing with marriage properly. For marriage is going to be, hey, Sister Marion, how you doing? Thanks for being on with us. Appreciate you. So then we talked about from there that marriage is one of the greatest things that's going to help your community. And what is it that a husband should be, what pre-qualifies us as husbands and what pre-qualifies us as wives, and therefore what will allow us to come together and know one another. All right, be knowledgeable. Pillar number two now coming back into play, to where we can redeem what marriage is, reconsider, and we can ensure that now we're, doing things, because marriage basically is, as strong as your marriages are, is as strong as your communities are. And say whatever you want, right? But if you're talking about diasporas of different types, if you want to call it the, European diaspora or the Asian diaspora or the African diaspora, etc., when you find places that are strong, communities that are strong in different places, you will find that you're going to be dealing with marriages that are strong. Then from there, we went to number 11. Number 11 was talking about being lawful, and we spelled lawful, Lawfull. to ensure that we were talking about we really got the concept of being full of law, and that law does not give rights, but law does what? It protects rights. So law does not give us rights, but law does what? It protects our rights. And then we went from there to number 12, which was yesterday when we finished up with love. What is love? Love is an action so powerful that it brings about description. It is also a description so powerful that it brings about manifestation. Love is an action so powerful that it brings about description. It is also a description so powerful that it brings about manifestation. Once again, love is an action so powerful that it brings about description. Love is also a description so powerful it brings about manifestation. And hey, how you doing, Sister Deborah? And that is getting us to where, and we did a Q&A session already in the midst of that, and then we were going to do like another Q&A/review, which is usually how we end. However, we're going to use a topic to do the review. So if you have questions, comments, or concerns, once again, feel free to put it in the chat. If you're on TikTok, if I miss it, you can put it in the Q&A. If you're on YouTube, the podcast, or Facebook, just feel free to put it in the chat section. I will get back to it as humanly possible, as is humanly possible. But today we want to talk about this term that you hear people use, and it's champion. Champion. And I put 3 question marks next to it today for a reason. We're going to talk about champion, being a champion. However, what the world, and remember when we talk about this word world culturally, when we're talking about world or cosmos, even KOSMOS, not COSMOS, but KOSMOS, we're talking about a system that's in place. And once again, love, our working definition for love here at SOC is love is an action that's so powerful it brings about description. It is also a description so powerful it brings about manifestation. Love is an action so powerful that it brings about description. It is also a description so powerful it brings about manifestation. Last time, love is an action so powerful that it brings about description. It is also a description so powerful that it brings about manifestation. Sister Betty said I immediately rewatched yesterday to take better notes. Oh wow, thank you very much. Glad that you were able to do so. So now today we're going to talk about champion, and I put 3 question marks because first of all, when you hear somebody say champion, I'm the champ of the world. People are more concerned, and you must comprehend this, that people are more into fanaticism than realism. And on both those words, right, we have to comprehend what they are. See, being real, I think we all get the point of being real, right? And being a fan comes from this term called being a fanatic, right? So if somebody says I'm a fan of a sport, I'm a fan of this social media personality, I'm a fan of this particular people, I'm a fan of this music group, I'm a fan of this thought process, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what they're saying is that I'm a fanatic of it. And being a fanatic is actually a very dangerous thing. One thing I've learned is to stop being a fan and actually be like somebody who can enjoy something, right? And thanks for being part of the community. Is it as pop? I don't know if I said that correctly, but thanks for being on. So a lot of people are fans and right, and they're fanatics rather than realist, and they're into fanaticism instead of realism. Now ISM on the system, hello, Supreme Rising Dawn. Fanaticism is well, put it like this: ISM on any word, it makes it a system. So if somebody says, realism, we're talking about a system of what's real. If somebody says fanaticism, I'm talking about a system that is for fanatics. If I'm talking about idealism, we're talking about a system based off of people forming narratives. If we talk about um, chauvinism, we're talking about a system in which politics and economics are used to be able to govern everybody's life and control them. If we talk about male chauvinism, then it becomes more of misogyny, right? If we're talking about feminism, then it can get to a place, if we're not careful, to where it might become misandry. But a system, ISM on anything makes it a system. Right? If we're talking about racism, see, race is a competition, but then racism is a system based on competition. And since we've changed the social construct of race from a competition to now a competition based off of skin color, well, racism is something that allows people to have a head start in a competition. So you'll see people put up these definitions, but because we don't have proper etymology or even eteos, and not even always etymos, if you guys remember from the 12 pillars of wisdom series, we went over that. You have a lot of people that are in this place where they don't even comprehend that systems are in place. See, once again, ISM makes it a system. Amen. Then thank you, Sister Shima. I see you in there. Thank you so much. Right. And thanks for being part of the community. Greedy, is it Greedy Gang. So a lot of people don't comprehend how words work. So here we are arguing against racism and this and that or whatever, but we don't comprehend, well, it's a system. So somebody says, "Why are you talking about racism? You trying to say I'm a racist? Did you create a system?" Number one, no. Right. So I didn't say that you created a system. Right. And by the way, I didn't create a system. When somebody will then turn around and do the reverse racism. Well, you created racism. You created racism. I mean, it's on you because you were talking about it. No, I didn't. By talking about it, I didn't create a system. You said you were talking to your Lyft driver yesterday. Okay. I'm up. I'm up. Right. So racism is a system, and people don't want to talk about it as a system. So they don't want to talk about something systematically put in place that is systemic, something that continues to go on its own. And many people are focused on fanaticism instead of realism, right? To be a fan of something rather than actually deal in the system that's real. So people don't want to talk about a system. People are not concerned about a system. People are not concerned how the system flows or how the system works or how the system grows. People are concerned about being fanatics. So we will have conversation, and people are not trying to even have a conversation about what is real or a system that is really in front of us. People want to talk about where they stand as far as being a fan, which gets us to a place to where this whole champion mentality comes out of, at least what the modern sense of a champion is. How you doing, Sister Nakia? But for many people, believe that being a champion is something that happens at one time. See, there's a saying, right? And I get what people say, right? And I'm not mad at it per se, as long as the context is right. See, here we're not about facts or context by itself, but we're about contextual facts always being together. So many people will do this thing to where it goes, well, there's a system, or they don't think about the system, but they go, well, you won one time, right? So for the rest of your life, you will be known as a champion. Nobody can take that away. And we will put you on this pedestal because you won one championship. Matter of fact, you won the one championship and somebody didn't win a championship, or you got a golden globe and somebody else never got a golden globe, or somebody that nobody really thinks you're great at acting, but hey, you happen to get an Oscar in this very obscure thing, so you must be a great actor or a great actress. Some people would say, call them one and the same. How you doing, Levi Hart? Thanks for being part of the community. And so we go through this wild thing. Oh, thank you, S Pop Top. So we go through this wild thing where we're looking for all these different things that come to place, all these different things that cause us to feel comfortable in our fanaticism, right? But aren't causing anything in this realism, in this system that's actually real out here, you know. And so people are just looking for you to get a championship, so to speak. How you doing, Sister Barbara? People just want you to get a championship, just get a medal. Thanks for being part of the community. Cheating, right? They just get a championship, just get an award, just be the person that stand on top of the podium, and everything else is real around it doesn't exist. See, this is propaganda. 1936, I believe, the Olympics that are done and held in Germany. Right at the time, we know they were dealing with some very crazy stuff that's going on in Germany at this time, right? And here come all these people from all over the world. And the whole thing was built to say, see, look, we're this amazing place. Look at us. Look at us. Don't pay attention to the fact that, all of you countries already know what we're doing to a whole group of people, well, groups of people. We only focus on the Jewish people. We forget that others are being, killed and fried, literally, being cooked to death. Um, don't pay attention to any of those things, though. We're gonna have this grand thing, and so Jesse Owens goes over there, and look, I got much love for Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens, pound for pound, fastest man to ever walk the face of this planet, right? Um, and Jesse Owens goes over there, and he wins 4 gold medals, and we say, wow, yes, he's amazing, and look what he did, and this black man who did all these great things, and America goes out and says, see, we're better than the Germans, see, because we are people that allow black people to run for us, and all this, and the Germans have to take this L, and but it was nice while we were over here. But we forget that there's a world war going on at this time, right? Like there are countries of people. There are many citizens. There are men, women, and children that are dying and dying off of some foolishness. But it doesn't matter. We're just going to come together and we celebrate the champions. And then the champion Jesse Owens comes back home though, and he has to go back into realism. See, he was in fanaticism to where people waved that flag, but then he came back here and he couldn't even go to eat somewhere because they would have something on there that said no blacks, no Jews, no Irish, no dogs, no Mexicans. Actually, I don't even know if no Mexicans was on signs quite yet, but they would make their way, right? So fanatics would look at Jesse Owens' victory and only see it through the prism of, man, that black boy run, he good, you know, God bless America, and wove the flag, and or wave the flag, excuse me, wove would be different, excuse me, wave the flag, and meanwhile, though, the person who's the champion, so to speak, has to go back into realism. He has to step out of fanaticism to where, for a little bit, and the same people who would talk about all this stuff, Adolf Hitler would not address him or anything like that, would not, admit to anything that Jesse Owens did as being great, right? While everybody was still bowing down, literally bowing down to this Fuhrer that wasn't even their Fuhrer. But here comes Jesse Owens. Now he has to go back into realism. He has to step out of fanaticism and into realism. And this is why we have to have these 12 pillars of wisdom, because you're dealing in a system that wants you to believe that being a champion, in quotation marks, that's why we said quotation mark, champion, question mark, question mark, question mark, quotation mark. You're dealing with a system that wants you to believe that when they say you're a champion, it means that the system is set up for you to be a champion every day or to be a winner every day. And that's why the race is not given to the swift, but is given to those that endure. Jesse Owens had to continue to endure and had to continue to try and have his own people who looked at him as a hero but realized he wasn't allowed to do anything. He had to keep trying to uplift them through a system that was oppressive. You were talking about with people being fanatics yesterday, Sister Deborah. Amen. Amen, right? You know, it's always interesting how your spirit flows with ours, right? When we're talking about things, and that's great. That's awesome, right? So you're dealing with people who want you to only think about fanaticism, wave that flag. Hey, this is the first black person to do this since 1925, or it's the first black person to ever do this. When reality is, it's like we were doing this back in the times of Kemet, right? Kedah, the Shima, right, or Shima. So when we talk about the champion, right? When we talk about a champion, you got to comprehend that when they say champion, they don't mean champion as far as everyday living. They don't mean champion as far as we will champion your cause, right? They don't mean champion as far as we're done being oppressive. That's not what we're talking about, right? The goal of when you go look at all these sports talk shows, if you notice, people will get upset if anything political comes up. Nowadays, it's okay, especially because of the whole Black Lives Matter thing for a couple of years, even though it's still going. But it was a fad, so to speak. It was something that was around, but nobody cared about it until George Floyd. Really, as far as it being a everybody cared about it thing, right? But in this fad that came up, it now became all right. The people that were getting fired for talking about things like Black Lives Matter or anything having to do with politics, etc. Now those people are the very people that people wanted on. Those are the very people who are using this now to take care of their families. That's what even Kendrick Lamar, made it point one of his lyrics to one of his songs. The one he did with his little cousin, I believe, whatever it is, and we talked about it a little before on here, and the lyric that says, I, where he talks about I am the Omega to start off, he says, I thought you known better. I've been ducking the, don't address me unless you address me with four letters. I thought you known better. I've been ducking the pandemic. I've been ducking the pandemic. I've been ducking the social gimmicks. I'm ducking the social, the social activists, right, and all that stuff. He's talking about that. Everybody got upset while he was doing real work, and everybody got upset that he took a break and he wasn't out here going to every single march and doing this and doing that or whatever, and tried to make him look bad, even though he was, for a season, right, he was your champion. He was somebody that was out here rapping on this stuff. He was somebody out here talking about his experiences coming from the Black community. And even though I wouldn't say everything that he did was something that we need to act was perfect in his delivery and his representation of our community, we definitely shouldn't be out here acting like he didn't do anything of value. But people are out here trying to act like they believe, they want you to believe that when you win, you're a champion, and that means that forever you'll be taken care of. But the reality is that it's just something that is used, this whole thing of pushing you, driving you, be the winner, be on top, do this, but they're not hearing you. They're not working on the system. They have a system set up to make you feel like you are in a position of authority for a second, for a fleeting moment. You the man. For a fleeting moment, you're the queen. Nobody can tell you anything about this because you won a race, because you made a shot, because you have a ring on your finger. And the reality is, once the ring's finished being on your finger, you still have to go back to everyday life. The reality is once you finish playing your sport of choice, you still have to make it a point to live your life. How do you live your life? Even after you finish being a champion. Yeah, right. It's a very superficial thing to where they want you to believe. They even say, be a champion for our cause. They lift you up. Hey, march the streets with us. Black Lives Matter. Do this or whatever. And then when it comes time for a black crime bill, you can't get it. But Stop Asian Hate crime bill, that thing happened in a matter of a week because somebody got shot up. How many of you got shot up by police officers for years? Y'all coming off the George Floyd thing. Still waiting though. I champion the cause in the military. The military ain't trying to give me nothing as far as what they promised financially. And I'm glad because now I know I don't want benefits or privileges anyways. I'm sorry, naturally said, same for military service that came back and treated like nothing. There you go. Right. So what I'm saying is that that's the whole idea of the system. The system is set up to get us to not be at peace and to fight and claw each other to be able to say that you are a champion. And then when you finish being a champion, they say, cool, you're a champion. Meanwhile, you've given up the ability to take care of yourself the whole time along the way. Thank you for the love. I think it was PJ. Thank you for the love, right? Like we don't comprehend that their goal of champion is not to actually lift you up. It is to make sure that they can say, see, we put this person in a position, everything must be fine. It is propaganda. It is propaganda, right? Don't pay attention. What the Wizard of Oz? Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. The big head is in front of you. Get a big head. Be all great. Think that you all that. Be in front of everybody. See, but really, there's no confidence. They're afraid that you would find out what's actually causing the system to move. Hey, shalom, Minister Select Sonia. That, but hey, look at the big head in front of you. Isn't it wild? Isn't it crazy? Isn't it scary? Don't pay attention to the fact that we still ain't taking care of the wicked witch of the West yet. Just come to Emerald City. You see the emerald around. You see the green emerald dealing with happiness and healing and all this stuff. You see the Emerald City. You were just walking on the streets paved with gold. They're telling you a whole biblical story. They didn't even realize it, right? Emerald in heaven. That's one of the precious stones. It's going to be the wall that you got to get into and all that. See, look, we make it look like heaven. But don't look behind the scenes at really the fact is you got this cat that came from Kansas that actually turned the Wicked Witch of the West into the Wicked Witch of the West and is going to have you go kill the Wicked Witch of the West and still isn't going to do anything because even after you leave to go back, right, you still got this dude that don't know what he's doing that's still going to be running the place. Right? Like they run it like even if they didn't intend to, they can't help but culturally tell you what's going on. Game's still going on. Hello, Wasim, how you doing? Right? Game's still going on. They're still running game. Still giving you propaganda, and that's why we must be wise and set up a system in which wisdom can go inside that domain. Thanks for being part of the community, Freddie Sanders. Where is the domain that you have? Do you have things in place in your home, with your family, and with your children, with your community that says that we can go outside of this wicked system that's trying to say that we're only champions as long as we ignore the fact that we really live lives every day that are that give us a defeatist attitude. That's all propaganda is. Propaganda is something that really is out there to help you to develop a defeatist attitude. And thank you for the agreement, right? That's all it is. It's something that's out there to help you to develop and be okay with a defeatist attitude. That's what it is. Hello, brother TJ, how you doing? Right? That's what it is. It's to help you to develop a defeatist attitude. Can we keep you with a defeatist attitude? Can we keep you oppressed? Can we have it set up to where you will keep accepting being being nothing? Will you keep accepting it? Are you okay with continuing to accept that you know what, you really ain't what we want you to be? Right? Are you okay with us continuing to stay where you want us? Right? Are you okay with continuing to stay in a position where we want you to be? Right? Like that's what propaganda is set up to do. Propaganda is set up to say, we want you to get riled up to where you are more concerned about being a champion than you are about making it through the race and enduring. Hey, Sister Cassandra, how you doing? That's what being a champion is about in the system. And you've got to be wise enough to comprehend that you can't allow that mentality inside your domain. This can no longer be something that's allowed to where winning for a second, right, is worth still going through hell in the morning, right? Morning, Mourning, right? Weepeth endureth for a night for the beginning, but it's always darkness to light. So it might endure in the beginning of the season, but you got to come out. Yet you every day, every period of time you go through, you go from weeping and then you end up weeping again and going to sleep and weeping and end up going to sleep weeping and weeping and going to sleep weeping. When do you weep and then eventually wake up and end up going to sleep into the next day or the next period of time? When do you end up rising into your joy? That's what the system's supposed to be about. The system's supposed to be set up for you to have joy, joy unspeakable. You know, the system's supposed to be about the joy, the love, the peace, the feeling of belonging, knowing that your culture is allowed to be able to survive and to thrive and to land and to be lifted up, and that the person that's over your joy can be lifted up, for he'll do the drawing, not only even of all men, but even of all the poisonous stuff that is in around you, in and around you. Where does that system take place? What's have you systematically and systemically put in place that causes that to be? And when you start talking about that, that's when people get afraid of you. That's when all of a sudden numbers that are going up for us, they go down. Shalom, Breezy, how you doing? That's when we start saying, that's when all of a sudden family members that are more about being champions at a fleeting moment, but not making sure that you have, amen, kingdom sovereignty, kingdom psychology, things of that, kingdom law, marital law of attraction, law of first mention, universal law, et cetera, et cetera. That's when they don't want to deal with those things, because that would mean that you would have to come out of only being accountable to be a fanatic. Everybody loves to be a fan. Very few people want to come outside of being a fan and deal with reality. Reality demands that you can't stay a fan. You know, when people say stuff like, I'm a Jesus freak or I'm a Jesus fan, I'm a fan of Jesus, right? First of all, you know, we don't worship Jesus over here. But secondly, if you are this Jesus fan, then that's a problem, because Yeshua doesn't want you to be a fan. He wants you to be somebody who does things out of free will. He wants you to know what you're doing. He wants you to do it, you know, without thinking that you can't try it out for yourself. Try the spirit by the spirit. You know, WWJD doesn't mean, right? Everybody wearing that band and stuff back in the day. WWW, I'm sorry, was it WWJD? What would Jesus do, right? WWJD doesn't mean that you're somebody that won't be depressed. It just means you're a fan. It means that you thought it was fashionable to try Christ on and then to take him off, right? Like, I don't have to wear Actually, I can't take off who I am, but I don't have to wear, love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, greatness of Elohim, faithfulness, meekness, and temperance. I don't have to wear a shirt that says it. Who I am will either decree and declare that I am that or not. See, that's wisdom, a domain in which wise things go inside of. You said the Bible tells us to challenge the spirit. It tells us, to try the spirit by the spirit. And the word spirit, pneumatical thought, pneuma, right? So the Stoic thought that marries the spirit, the soul, and the body together. So if so, it's about interpretation. There's only one interpretation, but many applications. If there's one interpretation that says do this because this culture says this, because this is how you're supposed to do it, this is why you do it, so do it in this fashion and expect this result. If we try to come outside that, then we should expect a different result. See, and it was what Einstein. Thank you, Sister Betty. It was Einstein. Thanks for the agreement, Sister Christine. It was Einstein that said that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I would go as far as to say, if we were to go deeper, one of the things that's most crucial about the diaspora is that we keep doing what we know is not even by the Spirit, right? And then expecting Spirit results. Rhonda says, yet even when they break down, they are put down like an animal. Yeah, you know, and we keep being in a system to where we keep not trying things by the Spirit. See, we like to try the Spirit part. We like to challenge the Spirit. I don't like that part, so I'm gonna do this. But it doesn't say just challenge the Spirit every time. And we are challengers. Once again, you're told that you should be a champion. So you think being a champion is I'm just going to challenge. I'm just going to challenge. I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to challenge it. Eventually, at some point, I'll win because I'm challenging all the time. I'm just challenging everything. Hello, Sister T. I'm challenging my husband. I'm challenging my wife. I'm challenging the school system. I'm challenging the president. I'm challenging white society. Some people don't want to be with their own, or people. Some people just because they don't want to be status quo. They're fanatics. They don't want to do stuff because everybody else in their family does it. So they say, I'm going to challenge my own family. I'll challenge black people. I'm black, but I'll challenge black people. Which I don't mind. Challenge your own people. However, what are you challenging this based off of? You just challenging? You just trying the spirit, or you trying the spirit by the spirit? Like, what is the context of your challenging? Some people grow up like that. They're sports fans. Let's say their whole family are, you know, Dallas Cowboy fans, and because their whole family is Dallas Cowboy fans, they know that the Washington football team, now known as what's that weird name they got now, the Washington Commanders or something, which so much just in that name, we could have a whole live on that, right? But the Washington Commanders or whatever. So since they know that that's the team that everybody in their family hates, they will on purpose dedicate the rest of their lives to being a Washington Commanders fan just to make sure their family is like, they do it out of spite, just so they can say that I'm different than everybody else, is their way of saying I'm different, rather than being like, well, why are you doing that just randomly? What's the point? And it's always weird. Like Sister Shima, she's in H-Town, but she can probably vouch for this some. Like a lot of people in Dallas are actually Washington Commander fans, and a lot of people like in DC are actually Dallas Cowboy fans. It's a very weird thing that happens, but it's usually because people are so tired of seeing one thing, they just say, well, out of spite, I'm going to be a fanatic on the other side. But but the reality is, like, for what? Like, for what? Like, if your only reason, and I'm not here because I'm not a fanatic, but I'm just saying, if your only reason for supporting the team is because you're just like, well, I just want to be a contrarian, then that's not trying the spirit or challenging the spirit, by the pneumatical thought. That's just challenging for the sake of challenging. Challenge everything, but at least challenge the context. How you doing, Thomas Cloud? Thanks for being with us. Is it Claude? I'm sorry, I said Cloud. Um, but a lot of us are out here doing that, right? Where we will challenge things just for the sake of challenging because you've been taught champion. And you thought champions just win. Champions just win in the most champions. Well, I said you've been taught champions win at all costs. You said you got people in your family like that, yeah. And you've been taught champions just win at all costs. It doesn't matter what it costs. Champions just win at all costs. Doesn't matter what happens. Doesn't matter who you got to pull over. Doesn't matter if your family doesn't like you, right? Everybody wants to talk about Kobe Bryant, girl dad. And look, I'm not trying to make our brother look bad, but like this, let's be honest about Kobe. We have this very weird sense of Kobe Bryant that wasn't what he was thought of when he was even playing. But he died. And right before he died, people started changing the narrative. And he was very smart to change the narrative. He shifted that thing beautifully. Very intelligent brother. How you doing, Chef? How you doing, Sylvester? Thanks for being on. Right? But he shifted that thing, and we forgot real quick that this perfect father, husband, all this stuff was somebody who lied to us about who he was when he was young, and somebody who was cheating on his wife, and somebody who who wouldn't talk to his own teammates. There are people who play with him. How you doing, Anubis? There are people that played with him who said that he never talked to them at all. Think about that. People who said he never once talked to them at all. Think about that again. People who will tell you that Kobe Bryant never talked to some of his players, never had a relationship with them, made fun of some of them, and said that it was the best thing to be able to do. This is somebody who we think of as being a psychopath. Like literally him, Michael Jordan are people that are considered to be. People say they are great. I want you to understand this concept of champion in the world, in this system. People will say they are great because they are psychopaths. They have psychopathic behavior. My wife and I were having a discussion a little bit about this, how last night, where we were raised totally wrong. And I know as a young boy, the older cats were telling us to have psychopathic behavior towards women, and women would accept the psychopathic behavior. You know what I'm saying? And shalom to everybody on all the platforms. We appreciate you for being on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and the podcast. When they had psychopathic behavior, psychopaths. Supposed to be able to walk and follow you everywhere and catcalling and telling you, you need to go ahead, bow down, give me your number. Don't even try to produce anything, take you out anywhere. Like the generation I was raising, that was what we were told by the old school cat, right? And when I say old school, not old school for the age we were at when we were young boys coming up and dealing with teenage boys, that's what they taught us. Because that was being a champion. That's why if you had sex with a girl back then, they called it scoring. Y'all remember that word? Yeah, amen. You are what you accept. Instead of think it's the wrong word. What, the wrong word that they use for them? I mean, they definitely had psychological issues. But going back to Kobe, right? A sociopaths and lack of emotional empathy. There's some of that too. Yeah, I think they have more than one disorder, if you will. You said I've seen that while working at Bellagio in Vegas a lot. Mm. you know yeah, and that's, but we're told that that's something that's supposed to be there. They don't have any empathy for anybody. They're just a dog. They just are killers. They, like, think of the words, Kobe, Michael was a killer. Kobe was a killer. They kill you. Like, you know what does that get you? But see, we won't talk about the fact that Michael Jordan came out of it, and sure, he signed a sneaker deal, right? But we don't want to talk about the fact that Nike, whether you think it's Michael Jordan or Nike itself, Nike uses, prison labor, chattel slavery, all over the world to be able to make sure that your shoes, are on there, and that you can pay hundreds of dollars for them, and say that, hey, that's what it should be. That's the behavior that we love, because we say that's champion. Champions get that. Champions deserve that. Somebody says something about it. Hey, you can't talk about that. He's a champion. Well, so being a champion means what? That you get to just do that to people? Being a champion means that some people will defend that no matter what they do. Being a champion means that you can be Isaiah Thomas in charge of the New York Knicks, and you can go ahead and get in trouble multiple times for messing around with women in the wrong manner. And I know I got some people from the D in the house, so please don't hurt me. But I'm just saying, right? We got, at some point we got to be like, yo, bruh, something ain't right. If you keep doing, being a champion means you can be Ben Roethlisberger, you can retire, and we can just sweep over the rug that at least 2 times, more than likely, you raped somebody. And I'm not going to use that word again. I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to really use that word on social media platforms. That's what happened, though, right? Yeah, Nike uses prison labor. Everybody uses prison labor. You go to but this is what champions do. If you look at McDonald's uniforms, if you look at Wendy's uniforms, if you look at Burger King uniforms, etc., like all of those places, they get all of those uniforms get made in prison, and then they make the people who are making minimum wage pay them for the uniform. You said fear Elohim, not COVID, not Russia. Okay, no problem with that. You said that's why we need to stop buying it. Amen. I can't tell you the last time. I can't say I've never in my life worn something from Nike, but I can't remember the last time I actually went out and bought some Nikes for myself or my family. You said the army is the biggest use of prison labor. In a sense, yeah. They sign themselves over to being dead or enslaved. I used to be in the military, so sure, very much so. You will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, not the United States of America, right? But the Constitution of the United States, the corporation, against all enemies, anybody that would come against them, foreign and domestic. And they try to say that you have to belong to them. Now, technically, if you know what it is to, as far as how law works, and I'm not giving legal advice or financial advice, any of these things today, right? I'm just telling you contextual facts. You can easily at any time be able to say that no, we're not going for that, and I can do certain things and I don't have to get this shot, and if something is wrong, I do have a right to do so, right? You can even sign UCC 1-308. People don't know this, so we just go on the slip, but we're in a system where it's set up for that because we don't have wisdom. We don't have our own culture that we bring to it. We think through somebody else's culture, somebody else's prism, which is try and make sure that they bring us down and keep us down and keep us at a level to where we think that it's okay to be used and abused. To be abused literally just means abnormal usage, you know. Don says the term joke, oh, F them kids, is from MJ. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I had to do some research on that. That's the first time I heard that. I never really knew where it came from, in all honesty. Right. Thanks. Is it Ikea? Is it Ikea or Ikea? Ikea freak? Oh, IK freak, I think. Thanks for being part of the community. Please forgive me for butchering that. Anubis said in the military, you're government property, just like that M16 or 10. Yeah, but check this out. If you keep identifying with your birth certificate, how you doing, Lee? Lily, if you keep identifying with that birth certificate, guess what? You still property. But we don't think about that because the whole goal is they try to make you have a champion mentality. And if we push you up and say you're a champion, and one thing, the goal is propaganda is to get you to forget about all the systemic issues and the systematic issues. And thanks for the love. Appreciate it. He said, did you know that there's American oil digs in Brazil in their big forest hurting the indigenous? I mean, America is everywhere, but not just America. You got to comprehend all types of businesses over there. Yeah. I mean, did you know in Brazil that when you do carnival is dealing with somebody's pagan holy day, but they just make sure that you can go ahead and dance and shout. And so they lift you up, and they had this girl buck naked up there who's doing sexually explicit stuff, and little children and everybody are watching it, and they're saying, oh, okay, cool. Well, hey, they're doing this or whatever. Reality is that ain't even got nothing to do with your culture. They just let you dance, and you'll forget all the other problems that go with it because they let you dance. But it's that, but we don't have the wisdom, especially the wise dom, the domain that allows for wise things to come from our culture. So all we see it through is through somebody else's lens. Did you know in Brazil, when you go to Brazil, that you're not going to see people who are black, even oftentimes moreno and whatever other colors they want to put in there on television, they're going to put everybody else that looks and the social construct what we now call white. Did you know that? Did you know that if you go to Brazil, you're going to see Confederate flags in certain places? And people don't even know that, yeah, because the people who lost, they took the Confederacy. The Confederacy didn't die off; they just went to Brazil, and they kept on doing what they were doing. Did you know in Brazil that you're going to go there and you're going to see, if you turn down the wrong place, you're going to see places, with cracuda or crack, and then you go to the place where they want you to stay though, and you're going to see everything. Oh, nothing to see here. Everything's great. We have love for everybody, this and that, or whatever. And I mean, we can do that everywhere, So it's not just, it's a worldwide thing. That's why we say there's a system that goes on. And the system, at the end of the day, it's bigger than even black and white, but they use black and white as an introduction to be able to get you to accept certain things. Remember, we're talking about champion with 3 question marks behind that word. When they say champion, what they're trying to do is to get your mind off of what's really going on. Irina said, "How do I go about getting my freedom from birth certificate?" Well, I can't really explain all the stuff on here. That's why we do classes and stuff. But if you want to contact us, feel free to contact us, and we can try and get you that information for sure. Get you some recordings, at least something, because it's a lot more to it. Because even if you get sovereignty shouldn't just be, hey, I got one piece of paper done. Because if you get your piece of paper done, but you're still dealing the benefits and privileges, like there's some people that can be more sovereign than people who get their birth certificate taken care of, or get their passport redone or whatever. There's some people who don't do that live better than sovereigns do as far as sovereignty, because they don't deal with benefits and privileges. But if you don't know what that means, right? If you can't make sure you can feed yourself, or you're in a community that can feed one another, then you're still not really sovereign. That's why we're working on the land and different things like that. Desire, you said, can I say the challenge the spirit again? Well, somebody was just bringing somebody, I can't remember who it was, brought up something earlier talking about challenge the spirit. The Bible says you should challenge the spirit, and I was like, yeah, you should challenge the spirit. I don't mind anybody questioning anything, as long as they're not doing anything in these platforms that cause the moderators to have to not defend me but defend us. There should be a place where everybody feels safe, right? But on all the platforms. Hello Tiger, how you doing? Hello Crystal, how you doing? But what I was saying is that some people just try the spirit or challenge the spirit, so to speak. And the word spirit, usually we're dealing with the Greco-Roman mentality, so it's dealing with pneumatical thought. Pneuma basically is stoic thought, where the spirit, the soul, and the body come together, right? So people talk about this challenge the spirit, but it's like, well, what is the context? Are you just challenging the spirit for spirit's sake? Because it doesn't say challenge or try the spirit, even put the spirit on trial. It's saying challenge the spirit by the spirit. Like, right, like there's a such thing as the law, but then there's also the spirit of the law. you know like what is the mindset of the law? What is the interpretation? Don't just say, well, I would challenge that if the Bible says pray, I'm just not going to pray and see what happens. No, no, or if I pray, I'm going to pray like this. No, the Bible would actually give instructions, law, principles, statutes, right? It was a like universal law. If you do this, right, this is what will happen. So do these things in this manner, in this context, in this culture, and then see what happens. And a lot of us don't do that. That's what I was saying. If that, hopefully that answers the question. Hello, elect. Thanks for being part of the community. um, or people get labeled as infidels, so anything goes. hmm You said, "I see you, bro. We don't stop revealing and resolve this. When do we stop revealing and resolve this dilemma?" And put up a Canadian flag. I don't know if that means you're from Canada, if you are welcome Canada in the house, or if you're just saying, look at what's going on in Canada. Um, First of all, once again, see, I think it's a well, I can understand what the assumption is, because many of us just talk about it. First and foremost, I think that the first thing we should do is talk about it. I'm not going to act like talking about it isn't, and I'm not saying that's what you're saying, but I definitely am not going to act like we shouldn't talk about it, right? But talking about it without results. Hey, Mama, how you doing, Mama Yara? I gotta check on you. I've been taking a break for a minute, but I got to check in with you. Hopefully, things are going better as far as health and everything. We still praying for you. Um, and I don't know if Minister Anais is on, if you want to put Yara Wooding on the prayer list for, I'll say, I think she said it publicly enough to where we should know what it is, but just in case, I'll tell you what it is later, or I'll check in with you and text you later about it. But yeah, but when we're dealing with this stuff, you really have to comprehend and think about it different. Like, so we're going to talk about it, sure, but once again, we're dealing with sovereignty. So number one, we're talking about micronations. We're talking about land. We're talking about being a religious sect on paper, which means that you can do what other people like that are religious sects. For example, the Amish. Right. We're talking about making sure that we do business with one another. Right. We have business owners here to do a great job. We're talking about when we grow our food, we want to make sure that we're trading food with each other. So we have people set up to be able to go and meet up with people at halfway points to make sure that food can be traded and everybody can have crop to even be able to grow inside their apartments, things of that nature. So, like I said, sovereignty is not just one piece. We're talking about not just having land, but then once we get this land and develop it, hopefully really quickly, but even if it takes us a couple of years, then we can go right next door to another place close and get land, another place, another place, to where we start developing and stretching out, and then eventually move somewhere else to where, okay, we got land over in a couple other countries, so if we needed to be able to go somewhere else, we could do so, right? It leads to other things, making sure that you have your own water source and your own sewage treatment and your own solar energy and many different things that nobody else can control, right? But you have control of. But making sure that you do those things written legally. There are things set up to where people cannot mess with you if you know what you're doing. A lot of us don't know what we're doing. So this is the goal. But it starts with talking about it. It starts with us being in the mindset. Like, one of the worst things we could do right now, in all honesty, and Malcolm X has talked about this, or Minister Malcolm Shabazz, Muhammad Ali, Minister Muhammad Ali, and plenty others have talked about this in the past, to where if we were to take our people in the mindset that we're in now and try to move everybody, we would have a whole other problem, because a lot of people don't know what we're talking about. Don said, "Oh, okay, you're talking to somebody else." So, so yeah, we definitely gotta do that. We definitely have to make sure that we're doing that and utilizing those things and getting those things together. But we do this. We come on here every rising at 8 a.m. Eastern New York time on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern New York time. We do early rise of Bible study sessions for those who want that, and want to guarantee to just be able to focus in on the Word. We want people that come on prayer service. We have that. We have stuff just for men, stuff for women. We're developing stuff just for children. We on all these platforms. We try to travel and meet up with people for one-on-one. We have people that call in and check on one another. We're not just people that are just showing up in here only to talking, that we don't do anything else. And the reason why we're setting this stuff up though every day is because every day of our lives, many of us, like, let's say somebody's 50 years old and just finding out about this, right? If I were to move that 50-year-old with a mindset of being a champion for a second, but still ignoring what's going on in the system, if I were to take that 50-year-old and put them in a position to where they could be with us, maybe they would listen. But what if they went against everything that we said? One person could mess that whole thing up, right? What if we got 100 people that live together, but there's 30 of them that are in a position where they might mess everything up? It's going to take everyday grinding to be able to correct what it is. This is how dangerous what the system is. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, he said, when before he wrote his book, he said it took him 30 years, right, to be able to get over 4 years of Harvard. Now, I thought originally, some people, I don't know, I had to reread it again. I thought he was saying it took him 30 years to get over his whole schooling from, preschool to getting his doctorate or whatever. But some people have told me no, he was saying just 4 years. Like, he was trying to say that it took him 30 years to get over 4 years of what somebody did. Either way, if you got somebody that's 20 years old, 30 years old, 15 years old, if they've been going through this for 15 years and they only been, part of something like this, or something that stretches their mind and tries the spirit by the spirit, so to speak, and they've been on this champion thing. I just got to win at all costs, and if my people ain't doing well, it's just because they don't want to do well, and blah blah. It takes a while. Even if you realize it's wrong, it takes a while to start having habits take place, and it's going to come out of culture. You know. Oh, okay. Thank you, Sister Sonia. Bounty says some have been against this oppressive system forever. Yeah, amen. And I'm glad to those who have and have always thought the way that they thought, and have always comprehended the word the way that they do, and has always, this and that or whatever. I think that there's no such thing as somebody that's perfect though. So all of us have things we can get better in. Nevertheless, like, though, like, the goal is that even if we've been against, like, like, there's a lot of people, had they known what this system means when they say you're a champion, um, or when they try to put you up as a champion, there's a lot of people that probably would have gotten out of it a long time ago, but they didn't know. And then some of us now, we want to get out of it, but don't know how to get out of it. So some of us have lived, years of our lives and still not been in the position. Amen, Shima. Yeah, change our mindset in order to change our lives. That's why we're doing what? Changing lives one mind at a time, by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And think about even that word. That's why that's our mission statement, right? And thank you, Music Box. You have a lot of people who are changing lives, are trying to change lives, but we do it one mind at a time. And how do we do that? By being a voice to the voiceless. There's a lot of people who don't have this platform, and this isn't a huge platform, at least not right now, right? It goes in and out. When they take us down, we got to come back and work and everything, but some people have the same mindset and might even be able to teach or speak or think different, just as well as I can, if not greater, and yet just don't have the platform. So at least we can give them a voice to where somebody can come on and be like, oh man, this is what I've been thinking. This is how I've been rolling. This is what I've been trying to teach my family. This is what I've been telling them about the community. This is what I've been, writing letters to Parliament or to Congress or to whomever about, right? This is what I've been telling the diaspora about. This is what I've been saying when we have our Garveyite meetings, but only maybe 4 people come to that. This is what I've been trying. I know people, people don't know who we talk to. I know people who are uh, Masons, and I've had taught them about things, and they go to their Masonic temples trying to teach them, which means that we're teaching the Masons. You would think that the Masons are too far in, but we're teaching the Masonic, right? Exactly, planting those seeds. We're able to plant those seeds in places that, and after that, I can't do anything because I can't go to the door. But the Masonic brother, who probably was trying to figure out what we were doing anyways and trying to just see if he could do it to get control, but he's using the same teaching, which means that at some point, truth is truth. And it's going to cause some people that are in there to say, wait a minute, well, what are we learning here? Why are we learning this? Or why are we learning that? Right? I've said this to people plenty of times before, and don't and not mad about it. Even when people get frustrated when I say this, we've had people who have listened to us. Not as many since we had to restart Kofi_43, but on Kofi_42, when we were getting huge numbers on the lives, and and we were legit having people that were homosexual who were contacting me and calling me and asking me questions about relationship stuff. And I was like, look, I can't really deal with relationship, this and that, or whatever, but I can tell you this and that, and how you need to get yourself together. And they would hear me because there was respect given, right? I could throw out seed, right? They had championed something and they were saying this ain't working. Or there were some of them that would call me and straight up be like, yo, I got a child and I know you're a pastor and I know that this, but I got an issue with this child that I'm supposed to be over. And it's actually my partner's child, and the father's dealing with this and dealing with drug usage, and the child is not coming to us for help and blah blah, but this and that. And so since the baby was in a certain position, guess what I had to do? I had to make sure I gave him advice on that, planting seed, because that baby was more important than me saying, "Oh, you don't agree with our position, or you're this, or you." No, I ain't got time for that. That baby's in trouble. You hear what I'm saying? You said, unfortunately, the God that I serve is Lucifer. Okay, well, thank you very much. I don't serve any God, and Lucifer's not even Lucifer. I don't even give the devil a name. So. Thank you for showing that you don't comprehend culturally what you're talking about, because you wouldn't have given them a name. You keep giving him an authority. He keeps running over your life. Stop giving him authority, and you wouldn't have to worry about being upset about somebody like me. But maybe you should listen to somebody like me to be able to comprehend what the culture is, right? But thank you to the moderator, right? But even things like that, and that person who came on, they don't even have any 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 ability to to be able to have regular conversation with others, because they can't comprehend. See, they came on with a champion mentality. I'm gonna fight the spirit by the spirit. You don't know anything about me. That's the first time I seen your name pop up. And you talking about God. If you knew me, I don't worship God. I worship Elohim. I don't worship Germanic deities and then try to put them in place where my culture is. In my culture, we know who the Most High is. I know his name, Yahweh. I know his title, Elohim. I know what he expects of me, and I teach what it is. They don't have any couth. I'm on, right? And I'm sorry, what you say, Don? Earlier you said, oh, I'm sorry. Y'all still talking to each other. Okay, my bad. I'm stepping in on people's conversation. How you doing, Noah Naphtali? All right, Noah Naphtali in the house. Awesome. Right. So people don't comprehend. Once again, you're into champion, you're into fighting and just winning for a second, not realizing that once you finish fighting against each other, the system is still in play. We were talking about that over and over again in the series. Revelation chapter 6 verses 3 and 4, the second horse. What does it say that its whole duty is? It's, how you doing, Free? Its whole his that horseman's duty is what? Is to cause you to not have peace. You're so busy being a champion that you don't have peace. You've dedicated your life to the sport, but you don't have peace. Kobe Bryant, you dedicated your life to the sport. You couldn't even talk to your parents. You dedicated your life to the sport, but you couldn't even make sure that you were faithful to your wife. You dedicated your life to the sport, but you couldn't even talk to your teammates. Don't forget. Look, I'm not trying to say that Kobe Bryant, because look, Kobe Bryant's salvation is his salvation, right? His walk is his walk. I'm not telling you he went to hell or anything like that. No, far from it. I'm trying to get you to recognize the truth. That's why I talk about my own flaws, right? As well. How you doing, Henry? Right. But I'm trying to get you to comprehend that we have this weird thing where we just say champion, 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 and don't realize that champions in a moment doesn't mean that you endure. It's not given to the swift. You won a championship 1 year. We talking about for the rest of your life. Nobody can take that away. Well, show enough, nobody can take that away. But there's plenty of people that won championships and still died because they couldn't eat correctly. There's plenty of people that won championships and they can't walk anymore because they gave their life to something for a fleeting moment. And there's still a lot of people who are champions, right? Who cannot exist in life correctly. There's a lot of people who are champions that ended up homeless on the street, right? It's not being about a champion for a second. It's about getting a crown that's due to the fact that you endured, right? And people are so busy in the system being fanatics rather than being realists. Oh, thank you, Sister Betty. I appreciate that. Right? Like we have been so much into fanaticism, a system of being a fan. You're a fan of the flag of the United States of America. You're such a fan that you won't study what the flag is about. I was watching some stuff the other day. How many people don't even know that there's 50 stars on the flag is beyond me, right? And that there's 13 stripes. It's beyond me how many people don't know that, right? It's beyond me how many people don't know that the flag is a standard. So whenever you support the flag, you support the standard. How do you say I want to be an American and I support America, but I want America to change? Well, you can't support America and support the flag because the flag is a standard. That's what it is. It's a standard. And even being a champion, real champions that are going to last are not people who are just great in the ring. Real champions that'll last, they're people that cause change. Sugar Ray Robinson, not Sugar Ray Leonard, but if you know what I'm talking about, Sugar Ray Robinson, Jack Johnson, the real Rocky, the real Rocky that actually existed, all these different people that were there. They might actually even Floyd Mayweather, even though Floyd Mayweather, you can be a little sketchy as far as who he fought when he fought him. However, like these people, you could say are probably better fighters, greater fighters than Muhammad Ali. You could actually probably say that they're greater. But why do we consider Muhammad Ali to be the greatest? Muhammad Ali actually lost to somebody who was really young in the game and he shouldn't have lost to, but was playing around with them and was already showing signs of age, and not only age, but brain issues. Right? Muhammad Ali lost to Ken Norton. And some people would say he really lost the second fight to Ken Norton. Muhammad Ali lost to Joe Frazier. Muhammad Ali lost to in a sense his protege and Larry Holmes, even though Larry Holmes cried when he beat him because he knew that he beat somebody that was drugged up to look a certain way, but he knew that he had no power, no strength anymore. We rock with Muhammad Ali because of what he did for the diaspora. Very rarely do you hear people bring up three-time champ with Muhammad Ali because that don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, he stood on principle. He stood on the origin, the original, what something meant. And he had a lot of issues. Not perfect. Marital issues, extramarital issues. Wild. How many children he has? Wild, right? The fact that he kept going back to fight because he couldn't make sure that he had stuff controlled, but he wanted to pay for everybody else in the posse and everything. He had some things that were out of order. But we think of him whenever you hear somebody talk about the greatest of all time, you will always, unless you're a boxing purist, and we're going to just talk about boxing and not talk about outside life on, you will always have people that are barely into boxing, they know his name. They know if you say Ale Boumaye, they know what you're talking about. If you say the Rumble in the Jungle, they know what you're talking about. If you say the Thriller in Manila, they know what you're talking about. If you say Cassius Clay, they know who you're talking about, right? He did more for the activism in the diaspora. He did more in the diaspora than he did in the ring, and so even though you will lift up somebody for a second, Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest like I don't care what you feel about him. Yeah, he womanizer, mistreats women, he beat a woman, like and he got away with it. Unfortunately. Terrible human being. He's one of the greatest people in the ring, but you will never compare. Not to people that are real. Like Floyd Mayweather can tell us all the stuff he did in the ring, but Floyd, like your life. I don't care how much stuff that you do out here trying to talk about you do things. And he does stuff for the community. And you might have more money to do stuff for the community, but Muhammad Ali means more than you ever will. Not because I hate you, right? Matter of fact, I'll defend you even in the midst of your doing stuff, because some of the stuff they coming against you on, they don't come against other people for the stuff that you did. They'll let they'll let a whole bunch of people get away. Heck, they'll let them be president for the stuff that you did, and they say it's so bad. So I'll support you to a certain extent, but Floyd, I can never put you in the same place as Muhammad Ali. Joe Lewis, great guy and everything, but I can't have you out here talking about that you're against Muhammad Ali because he says that black is beautiful. I know that you did a lot of stuff for black people behind the scenes of people, but I can't have you out here saying that you identify that Muhammad Ali is wrong for saying that black people should be lifted up. You're supposed to be his big brother, right? Like, and we can go on and go on and go on that, but people are about the champion thing. And we keep making people champion. This is how much the world has us messed up. This is where wisdom escapes us, right? The world has us so messed up in the head that we get surprised. How you doing, Harvey? Thanks for being on. We get surprised. We're like, oh my greatness! Can you believe that so and so came out and said something against black people? Right? We get surprised. And it's like, why are you surprised? Why are you surprised that Kim Kardashian is still out here? People out here, oh, can you see what she did this time to misappropriate the culture? And she actually dressed up in blackface as famous black people and this and that or whatever and did her hair. She been doing that. She been sleeping with your man. She been recording it and selling it. Y'all surprised still? There's a system in place. At some point, we got to be wise. If you want to keep supporting Kim Kardashian and what her family puts out there as far as their products and watching their shows, because you say, oh, I just want to see it blow up. Don't watch it blow up. Watching it blow up, they don't care if it does well or not, as long as their name is in your mouth. Rounder said, amen. My brother got shot in Vietnam, yet didn't receive proper medical care. And that's something that happens quite a bit. And people still dealing with stuff if they, I don't know if he's alive still or not, but people still dealing with stuff out of Vietnam. If we walk right over those people still to this day. We'll just walk right over them. They crazy. They just say that. We'll hear them talk about stuff in the hospital. And we're like, oh, they still talking about that's Vietnam. That's old. No, like people, that's that old stuff. That's that Nicolaitan doctrines. It's not just Old Testament, New Testament, but we do that in life. You still talking about that? That's old. Why is it old? I mean, well, that happened. And you have people that say that. Why are you still talking about Malcolm X? Or why are you still talking about Martin Luther King Jr.? Why are you still talking about the Black Panthers? The 1970s ain't that far. The 1960s ain't that far, right? Like if we were to go to 1970, if you were born in 1970 and your born day was today, that means that that you'd be 52 years old. 1970 ain't that far. But people keep acting like it's far away because it's part of that Nicolaitan doctrine. You said they have a church too? Yeah. Beyonce has a church. Church of Bay. There's not documentation as far as written down on paper. I'm talking about there's videos of Jay-Z doing demonic dances with people. You see what I'm saying? Like when do you get to a point where you start saying I have to put wisdom? 1970s make you 42 or 72? Okay, my bad. 82, 92, 2002. You're right. 2012, and then 2022, right? I think, or maybe you saying you're 42. I don't know. But these are real things that happen all day, and they want you and I to to lift them up and say, "Look at these champions," and people will fight nonstop, no matter what Beyonce does, that's righteous or not. Lift her up. Janet Jackson comes on, and it's obvious she knew that her breasts were going to be exposed because she had an X right over the breast, right? She had tape. It was an X or something, but I can't remember. But she had an X on the tape during the Super Bowl, and everybody was like, or I don't know what you call them, but you know what I'm saying. So your born day was yesterday. Happy born day, Dawn. Happy born day to you. Appreciate you. Happy born day to you. Happy born day. Happy born day. Um, so yeah, so like we have this thing that goes on, and we're not even thinking about all these great things that are going on, right? We're not even thinking about these things that are happening in the community. How you doing, Judge? We're not even thinking about all these different things that are going on, and like, but people go, oh, we gotta support Janet, we gotta lift her up. See what they did with Justin Timberlake. They didn't even say anything, which by the way they didn't, But it's like, but realize she came on there and exposed the breasts, thinking that it was going to get her extra play. Or by the way, the NFL was in it with her, right? Don't think about the fact that she then goes on to marry somebody, right? I think Jermaine Dupri was who she was with at the time, maybe, or somewhere. I don't know the timeline. Then she leaves him. He did cheat on her, though. Apparently, that's what happened. Then what does she do? She goes and she marries somebody else of another culture, because it was some prince or whatever, has a child with them. They basically have a 5 year contract. That's what they call it, pasties. Yeah, thank you. They have a 5 year contract. Have a 5 year contract with each other, and then they finish the 5 year contract. And then what do they do? Then she splits up and now has this child, to where the child on purpose not going to have a father, and not even involved in their life, at least not that much, from what I comprehend, and is not even going to like have their own community involved in their life. Two different communities, by the way, right? Like what we're in a very interesting position. We're in a very interesting position, y'all. We are in a very interesting position. We keep lifting up people and we support them no matter what they do. Look, Michael Jackson, it's been proven at this point. If you are somebody who said Michael Jackson is a child molester and this and that or whatever, you probably want to make sure that you come out that camp. It's been proven now over and over and over again. He was not a child molester, right? And we allowed them to decapitate that king in front of us as well, right? We allowed for them to go ahead and tell us that he was something that he wasn't, even though we had children that came out over and over again. Matter of fact, one of the people they tried to come out against him, it wouldn't. I'm sorry, I just messed up our whole setup. Uh, sorry, y'all. Let me get this back in order. But one of the people they tried to use was the the brother, the little brother of one of the, I think he's one of the Backstreet Boys, well, the Backstreet Boy that came out as gay. Aaron Carter is I might have the wrong one. Is Nick Carter? Is that his name? I don't know their names. Nick Carter, I think, was the one that was part of the Backstreet Boys that came out as gay. His little brother Aaron Carter, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't go with the mother. The mother was trying to get him for millions of dollars, and Aaron Carter was like, no, like he loves children. He's cool. Like, I went over there, like Michael was doing some wild stuff, like he was smoking weed with him and stuff, but like he was like, no, he don't do none of that stuff. There are people who are mobsters who took their children over his home and said, if Michael had ever touched my child, I would have killed him. We know that the three children that he did the stuff out of court with, Michael Jackson, right? That he took the three boys. One of them committed suicide and wrote a note saying that he was sorry for everything that he did to make Michael Jackson's name look like that. The other two basically came out and have admitted, like, yeah, you know what, we lied. One of them was supposed to get married to somebody. Michael Jackson, even after all the stuff that happened, still gave him money to pay for his wedding and everything. And the girl who was getting married to him said, I don't even feel comfortable with you paying for the wedding because he did what he did to you. And he knows that it was a lie. And I know it was a lie because I've known him from childhood. And he told me that what he did was a lie when he did it. Yeah, media didn't come out and report that, though, because they wanted us to come against our champion. Can I flip this champion thing around now? So you got to see who their champ. See, when it's their champion, it's okay. Elvis was messing around with little girls. He was a pedophile. Married a little girl, pedophile. And they did kill Michael Jackson, yeah. But he was messing around with little girls. How many times do people bring that up about Elvis? He was an actual pedophile. Like, he's the king of rock and roll, and you best not say anything else. But we know he was a pedophile. Is Jerry Lee Lewis is a pedophile? Am I saying the wrong one? Is that the comedian? Who was the one that was the rock and roll guy that they did, and that was their version of the guy who we had that was for real, for real. The guy, not Chuck Berry, but Little Richard. They had their own version of Little Richard. That guy, that white version of Little Richard that they had, he was a pedophile, married to his own little cousin. Nobody said a thing. Woody Harrelson, pedophile, then messed around with his own his own basically stepdaughter. Got married to his wife, started messing with the stepdaughter, got married to the stepdaughter. Still out here in Hollywood making movies. But they want you to come and get. They'll tell you lift their champion up, or they'll tell you who your champion should be. Lift up Ice Cube. Ice Cube, he gonna do what he does with Trump and everything, but lift him up and make sure that you make him rich and support NWA and do all this stuff or whatever. While meanwhile he was sitting up there making your man's Dr. Dre, who's gonna become a billionaire and stuff, and he'll make your man uh forgive me uh, Easy E and all these other people who's out here trying to do stuff or whatever, like make them look bad. And by the way, I don't know what Easy E did or didn't do, but I'm trying to tell you how they set this up. They're gonna tell you who to lift up, and they're gonna tell you who to tear down, and they're gonna have you anybody that does something that they're gonna something that comes against this rhetoric that says the white on top, black on the bottom, or your diaspora ain't nothing, whether it's black, Moor, Hebrew, Israel, Yashtel, Shwi, Chucktown, Blackfoot, Gullah Geechee, Olmec, whatever. Anything that lifts you up, we will tear it down. Anything that tears us down, or and anything that lifts us up, we will allow it to happen. Anything that lifts you up, we tear it down. Anything that tears you down, we lift it up. Yeah, Houston praised Beyonce for what she does in the community, but the underground artists help the most. Yeah. Judge Juan, how you doing? Thanks for being part of the community. Wisdom, yeah, wise done, but or even a domain that something wise can go inside of. You said you make feel old. I graduated from high school in 1967. I mean, more years to you. You ain't old. You're older than us, but it doesn't mean just because you're wise, it doesn't mean that you necessarily. I don't even look at old as a bad thing. I tell people all the time, I don't have them yet. I have a little bit, I guess, if you see on the sides, I got a little bit of gray that pops up, or I don't even know what it is, gray, silver, whatever. I've had it since like my 20s, my early 20s. But I don't feel like just because you that, I tell people I can't wait to be older or whatever. Give me my respect. I'm ready. Yeah, that history is why we're here. Yep. Sorry, trying to catch up on all these comments. Mm, Woody Allen. Mm. It was Jerry Lee Lewis. Okay. They didn't want Michael to own himself. Well, Michael was in a position where he owned a whole bunch of stuff in Sony. I mean, he owned the Beatles stuff. Matter of fact, Michael Jackson, still to this day, even though he's been dead for years now, right? Michael Jackson, still to this day, as far as the artist is concerned, you won't hear his name pop up anymore. But Michael Jackson still makes more money by far per year than any artist. That's how much money, that's how great Michael Jackson is and how much he set his family up. But they don't want you to lift that up. He said that's why I won't speak against Kelly, Cosby, or Kanye. Yeah, I hear about it. Like Kanye, if Kanye says something about our community and it's going to mess up our community and people are saying the wrong thing, then you got to address it. I feel like, if you say something that's messing us up publicly and it's something that, like, I'll sit back for a little bit, but when I see that, because Kanye's words hold value, right? Where young men will start just repeating it because Kanye said it. All Kanye had to say was slavery was a choice. And while I get what he meant all the way, I get what he meant, the way he said it definitely set up where a whole bunch of rappers and a whole bunch of people started coming out being like, yeah, slavery's a choice and blah, blah, blah. And, and I would have jumped off the ship and Waka Flocka comes out and this person comes out. And next thing you know, it's a huge deal, right? But there's certain things, but like with Cosby, even Cosby is somebody where, Cosby, yeah, he would to be cheating on his wife and stuff, sure, is a bad thing. They had their own open marriage, it seems, but still, I wouldn't suggest that. At the same time, though, you're not going to lock him up and then act like it's okay for other people to do the same thing, and let's not act like Quaaludes and things that they did that they weren't doing that for date RAP, you know what, purposes. They weren't doing that for that. Everybody used to use those just to be, to take the edge off before they did what they did. It's like when they do now the Deshaun Watson thing. Deshaun Watson, um, he didn't, um, Deshaun Watson, he was wrong for, like, I don't think you should be out there, doing having as much sex and stuff, just energy wise or spirit wise or a whole bunch of stuff. Nevertheless, though, we're not gonna act like there aren't a whole bunch of people out here who are doing the same thing. And by the way, he wasn't RAP, you know what, these girls. He wasn't. He wasn't. Like the team would set this stuff up and make sure they protected him. When he wanted more money or he wanted to go somewhere else, all of a sudden he was in the news, wasn't he? But that's how they do that all day, every day. And the media didn't report that either. No, I didn't know that about him changing his lawyers. Took his show off the air too. Hmm. The user stuff is kind of strange. I mean, it definitely is, but you know, uh, yeah. But I'll leave that alone for now. He said, "It blessed to know of them." Oh, I must have first part of that judge one. Hold on, or great grandparents. Oh, okay. You were talking to somebody else. Said when you're gonna get old, you're gonna be a guru. Is that what you were saying? My pleasure. User 221. Any community needs elders. Yeah, we thrive off of them. He said Kobe was going to get together his own league. That was no accident. Uh, I mean, maybe I've heard that before, but I don't really see any signs. He wasn't really saving up money. He wasn't really trying to do it. So Kobe was into doing the movies, or at least that looked like where he was going, putting together short films and things like that. Yeah, Woody Allen. Yeah, not Woody Harrelson. Yeah, I think I said Woody Allen, right? If I said Woody Harrelson, my bad, but I don't think I said. If I okay, a couple of you are um, corrected me. I guess I said Woody Harrelson. I meant Woody Allen. Said you can't just go by NBC and represent the indigenous people to be articulate and educated. Yeah, most def. That's why I really don't even really watch news. you know, I don't know the last time I've sat down and watched a news program. Maybe in a hotel or something like that. I'm always all over the place. Right now, I'm in the East Coast. I'm always all over the place. And many made the choice not to come across the Atlantic Ocean and drown themselves. Yeah, but even still with that, like, it's to kill yourselves as a people off. Like, it'd be very odd. First of all, a lot of us are native anyways. But secondly, even with us being native African mix, if that's where you want to go, um, the African side of us, like it'd be really crazy if all of us just said, you know what, we're gonna all kill ourselves and that's it. And it's like, okay, so you're gonna kill yourself and your people won't continue to exist. It doesn't, that's not a very great thing, but people just talk about it without context. Yeah, and Elvis is like a god to some people. I see that comment. He said you never hear them talk about all the things that hockey players do because of what they look like. Well, that's a huge part of it as well. Also, too, like they like you can do. It wasn't until recently that you could. Matter of fact, I don't know if it's still illegal in hockey or baseball to do cocaine or smoke weed because it's not even something that necessarily is it's not something that makes you better at the sport, anyways. Well, I do like the story or our story or even to study his story at times. So yeah. But like so once again, when we're dealing with this, they want you to champion certain causes, but they don't want you to champion your causes, if you will. Desires, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know that. I might know what that is, but I don't know that by name. The six diaspora forms. I'd have to look that up. I'm not even gonna hold you. Uh, I don't know if you're talking about like is that the thing where like Africa, West Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, places like that, where they say that they consider us to be the sixth diaspora or the sixth, you know, whatever it is. I can't remember exactly if that's what you're talking about. When I talk about diaspora stuff, I usually come from a perspective that I guess leads up to that, though. I can't say I'm fully aware of all that, but I do know stuff from like PFO Lumumba, Dr. Amos Wilson, people of that ilk. Kwame Nkrumah is somebody who's a huge figure in my life. Um, and that's basically if you were to think Martin Luther King Jr. meets Malcolm X and then give him a position of JFK. That's basically who you were dealing with in Ghana, right? Or modern Ghana, not the ancient Ghana. Um, so like people like that, they inform my thought process and things of that nature. As a Kriot, as a jelly as well. That if you get your information from the news, you've been lied to. Yeah, I think you should get your information from as many places as possible. I think you should make sure, once again, that context and culture is always first. That's the thing that messes us up. We be arguing with each other, but we have no context, or we don't have the culture correct. So we're arguing on behalf of something, or arguing that's against something. That's like, well, you should be able to listen to anything and anybody, and if you comprehend context and facts and put them together, not separate them, but you always have contextual facts, you will never be in a position where you're against these things. And the news is nothing more than the media. Just like, by the way, this is media. Media is a medium. It gets you. It takes one thing, the medium, just like a witch can be a medium, just like a crystal ball could be a medium, just like people have used the spiritual to be a medium, just like somebody can use a doll as a medium, right? You can use a child as a medium. You can use money as a medium. A medium is just a middleman, basically. So you have somebody over here, and then you're on the other side. I'm talking to you through these precious stones and melanin crystals and things like that have been put inside these phones, and we're having conversation. And that media or medium is, the airwaves, these devices that have been used connected to the airwaves to be able to get you a message. you know so the medium or the media is not really the important part as much as it is, do you have the tools to be able to recognize what they're saying? News anchors, the best spin doctors out there. They're not even the spin doctors. They listen to the spin doctors. They get paid by the spin doctors. You say, isn't that cognitive dissonance? I'm not sure exactly what I was talking about, J Sway, but probably was. If we're talking about one thing and then another. Henry said it would be, as far as maybe the slave thing, yeah. You say it would be nice to stop tearing each other down because of what they say. Yeah, but that's your mindset. Hey, how you doing? Perfect, getting perfect. But that's your mindset. That's your choice. That's your free will. We have the free will at any time to say, you know what? Yeah, I think we're done tearing each other down. Like at any time, we could do that. That's not somebody else's decision. That's our decision. That's why we talk about sovereignty. Sovereignty is more than just a piece of paper or just getting away from a social security number. Sovereignty is you being able to do things within yourself. Grand Rising wife, how you doing? God's wife, Elohim's wife. What's my opinion on Ukraine, Russia? I don't want to opine. I'll just tell you contextual facts as far as what I see. You basically have Ukraine. Ukraine is somebody nobody cared about in the first place. Russia wanted Ukraine for certain things as far as oil. All of a sudden, when America saw Russia making a move, now they're going to tell you how big and bad Russia is. But Russia's been taking little bits and pieces of countries for years again. They've been doing it since USSR. They got out of it as far as the USSR went back to Russia. Russia was still huge. Now all of a sudden they're going back and doing the same thing over and over again. Um, Russia on their side is using the excuse of denazification, which is actually true. That denazification was something that Russia, America, France, and England had all promised they were going to do, but they never did it. So Russia is using that as a way to get back in there. America is now coming against Russia, but hey, you know what? If Russia, it's like this: goes into if America is still stationed in Japan, that's a great thing, right? If Russia is trying to get into Ukraine, that's a bad thing. If America beats the brakes off of Libya and kills one of our champions, that's a great thing. If Russia decides that they're going to go and fight against India, that's a bad thing. If America decides that they're going to have territories and keep on being involved in people's stuff, and that's a great thing. If Russia decides that they want to go ahead and match up and support North Korea and therefore be able to get territories in that area, that's a bad thing. It gets to be a place to where it's like you got to see that it's people just playing you for the same thing. Are Ukrainians not getting what they need? Sure. Are there black people in Ukraine that aren't being treated correct and are being left there? Sure. Um, is it the same thing that's being dealt with? Sure. So I'm not going to get into the propaganda side of things. I'm not going to get into a Republican and Democrat type side of things. I'm not going to get into a Russian versus an American type thing, because none of that affects our people whatsoever. The goal should be, what will we do for our people? Period. And what do we have a system that allows us to go get them? Period. When they started doing stuff to our people in China, we went and got those people. Remember, China was killing off people and trying to say the black people were the reason coronavirus started, because of the fact that they teach Chinese people to be against black people as well. So, you know, I would concern ourselves with saving ourselves rather than saying, America, will you help us out? Because America and Russia, they're not concerned about us anyways. It's just putting blackface on the situation. It's my life says, I'm wondering, what does Z on tanks mean? What does Z on tanks mean? I don't know. It depends on what time period you're talking about. It depends on if somebody put it on there or whatever. It could mean different things. Yeah, USA ain't no better. Yeah, the American is still buying oil from Russia, supplying both sides of the war. Yeah, because by the way, remember what capitalism is. If you don't know what capitalism is, look up the definition. Capitalism is defined as a system in which politics and economics are used to control trade and industry. And trade and industry is controlled by private corporations, not the state. The word state means country. Like there's 50 states in the United States of America. That means there's 50 countries united. All right. So Russia is a state. The United States of America are states, countries that are united under one state. If you're not careful, under the corporation, and but they're all controlled by private corporations. That's why, as much as they talk about communism is for everybody, this, that, or whatever, you got to comprehend that in all that they're acting like everybody has the same equal rights to this, that, etc. Putin owns more stuff than everybody else does, so he controls the state. That's what capitalism is. Now, he won't call himself a capitalist. He'll say he's a communist because he's using communism, commune, everybody a system, which we're all supposed to commune as one, have one conversation, do everything for each other, get paid the same, but he ain't getting paid the same and living the same life that everybody else does, right? So it's capitalism under the disguise of communism. But they call it communism. But America is doing the same thing. They have communism where they're treating y'all all the same, but then they're telling you it's about capitalism. But the only people that are really capitalists are the people that have capital. If you don't have a certain amount of capital, you technically can't even be a capitalist. If you ain't a 1%, you can't even be a capitalist like that. Real talk. That's why the biggest capitalists are the ones that are the are the 1%ers. You out here thinking that you a capitalist. You can't be a capitalist if you don't have your own. You can't even fight against capitalists. So that's why you got to have a system for yourself. Hey, how you doing, Minister Tamara? Tav, Tav, Mashallah. Judge says, let's grab some coffee or tea, pick your brain. Hey, if we're in your area, or whatever, I wouldn't mind that. We can set it up. Oh, okay. So I sticker. I think I see what you're saying. The zero you've been played, all these reserves. Oh yeah, most definitely. My wife and I were talking about the other day. We actually watched something where there's this guy who I like to watch. He's a well, he's kind of everything, but I guess he's more a comedian than anything else. This guy named Patrick Cloud, and he was talking about how somebody noticed that apparently, if you ever seen the movie I Am Legend, based off of the graphic novel, which was supposed to end completely different than the movie actually does. Okay, I did say Woody Harrelson. Okay, so you guys know who I mean now, Woody Allen. Um, so, but when you watch like I Am Legend, um, there's a scene where apparently they show the gas prices are like at $6 and some change, whatever. And apparently in the United States of America, in certain places, the gas prices are there already. And we started talking about like how the gas prices seem like they're going to go high and higher, higher, high, and if we're over apocalypse. We're over like that's supposed to be apocalypse, and we're over the apocalypse gas prices right now. Um, and the reality is like, real talk. The reality is you're dealing with like the only reason why they can put those gas prices up the way they can is because like somebody said in the comments, America is hoarding gas. And so is Russia, and so are a lot of other places, right? So is Russia, and so but yeah, America has has gas that they literally just have in these huge silos and these huge warehouses and huge places where they lock it away. And so and they do that to make sure that they can control it. It's like with diamonds. It's the same mindset, it's the same culture, it's the same thought process, right? It's like with diamonds. A lot of people don't know that diamonds really are not like diamonds are expensive because supposedly they're supposed to be the most rare thing, one of the most rare things out there. However, diamonds are not rare, right? People went to Africa and to some other places, and they went and they took all the diamonds and they took them and they locked them up in these safes, and so you can't get to them. And so the only diamonds that are there are the ones that they let loose. Therefore, diamonds have become rare because certain companies control them. And that's why they don't want you to get land and take ownership and your people to look at things. They want you to think of yourselves as poor, but they have to come to you and steal from you. And thank you, Sister Sharice, for the love. They have to steal the stuff from you that is actually means you're rich. And then they take it and they lock it up and then they say, see how rare it is. Right? And then they give it to you. It's the same thing with oil. They created a system because, by the way, somebody created in the 80s or the early 90s, somebody created a gas tank that runs off of water. And there are still gas tanks that run off of water or engines that run off of water and stuff. You don't have to buy engine oil and gas and all this stuff like that. We could easily just be riding around. There's electric cars. There's tons of stuff. We don't have to worry about gas anymore. But when these things were first created, companies bought them out. And people actually created them, not even for you. They created them knowing that companies will buy them out. So they created these things. They made sure that they put it out there to talk about how great it was. And then they knew, oh yeah, Ford or you know, Ford or somebody will come out here and they'll buy this up so that nobody will know this exists. And it's the same thing with gas. You know, like they're putting gas out there as if there's not a whole bunch of gas. Oh, our people are rare. If you were talking about that, as far as rarities and the further back we go, right? But that it's all capitalism. Like you have to comprehend, even like if you go to get your vital records and stuff, you know that you're going to a specific place to get those vital records. And they're talking about vital records, right? Or you're going to get vital records. Why do they call them vital records? Because you are considered to be alive, and what's alive is valuable. Your capital. That's why you are, when you go to court, everything you're dealing with in court is commercial. That's why they deal with commercial terms, considering you are commercial property. Kimberly says, I'm thinking about taking money out the bank. I mean, you can. I wouldn't say take all of it out, but make sure that you invest. You should always be investing more than you're saving. You just need to know what to invest in and how to invest. Whether you're investing in cryptocurrency or anything else, you should always be investing more than you're saving. And there should be certain things that are more secure in your investments, right? So don't just go to something that's volatile only. A lot of people are only investing in cryptocurrency. Well, that's volatile. So you could have great times, bad times, great times, bad times. That's how volatile goes, right? But have some stuff too that you're investing in that okay, it's going to slowly move, but it's going to move. Yeah, I mean, we need real solutions. That's what we were talking about when they do this champion thing, lifting us up. People are into fanaticism instead of realism. Realism is a real system that's in place you got to deal with. Fanaticism is you're a fan of something, and so you deal with stuff as a fan. I don't like this, so that's why I'm against it. It don't matter if you like it or not. Is it real, right? And if you know it's real, what are some real things that are out there? Grand Rising Dan Gaddy, how you doing? Or Dan Gaddy. How you doing, Ray J? Thanks for being part of the community. How you doing? It's my life. No problem. Grand Rising the voice. Said bought them and killed them off. Yeah. Or I concur with you about the gas. They are block technology so they can get rich off the gas. I mean, that in a sense, even Ethercoin, Ethereum. Yep, supply and demand. If you take away the supply, then it's higher and it's more in demand, right? If it's already high in demand and then I can limit the supply, and you'll pay for whatever. And they keep saying how rare it is, but somehow, some way, Tiffany always got a diamond for you somewhere. It ain't too rare, is it? They just go and they tell you how rare it is. They give you the commercial. They show you the commercial with the shadow. They put the diamond on it to make it come out. They even put the shadow or something because the shadow's black, right? Even telling you like where it comes from, all that stuff. They're giving you all the game, and then but they lift it up, and you go, man, champions, we're diamonds. And my wife, she would really love me if I got a diamond ring. If my man really loved me, he'd get me a diamond ring. If he really loved me, he'd make sure every year that he upgrades, or every 5 years he upgrades the ring. It's propaganda. What if you had no ring? Would his love be more or less if you had no ring? Would it be the same? Salah. But we're not thinking about that. They make you think certain things are what champions do, and you get into propaganda and you forget what's actually more important. So Tesla needs cobalt for the cars, and the countries that have are being bombed by the U.S. I mean, that's part of it. But once again, you got to comprehend. Once again, in this realism, not in fanaticism, but in this realism, you must comprehend what's going on in this realism, in the system, that this real system, not the one you waving the flag over or talking about who you vote for, but in the real system, how stuff goes down is what, like, you must comprehend that they lifting up things to say we are champions because of this. It's gladiatorial games. That's all it is, ladies and gentlemen. Well, forgive me. We don't want to use that word, gentlemen. But brothers and sisters, right? Like that's what we're dealing with. It's fanaticism versus realism. It's propaganda. Look over there in Ukraine. You see that thing over there. And since Russia's doing this, we don't have any gas anymore, so we got to lift up gas prices. But you got more. You got enough gas locked up to last 200 years. What does a war with Russia have to do with anything? But you so busy on the shiny toy. They weigh the keys, the shiny toys in front of us, right? They say, "Ooh, this is what they do." Ukraine, look at Ukraine. You see it shiny. You see Ukraine. You see that? Right? That's what they're doing. You see Ukraine over there. Don't worry about all the other stuff that's going on. Don't worry about the black people still getting hung from trees, right? Don't worry about the fact that pay no attention to the fact that Joe Biden is speaking the same words that Donald Trump is. How you doing, Michelle? Don't pay no attention to that man behind, like we talked about earlier. It's gladiatorial games. The gladiatorial games, whether because and we don't get this. We only think of gladiatorial games as far as the Colosseum in Rome. Don't forget that the gladiatorial games were done all over the Roman Empire. Everywhere you went, they had gladiatorial games. They had people that fought to the death for people to come and watch. That was and there were real life issues going on. And so what they would do is to distract everybody from the real life issues and to say, "Hey, I'll give you a place to escape from real life." Suspension of disbelief. That's what you do when you watch the movies. They said, "We'll give you suspension of disbelief. We know that you can't watch this movie unless it seems like it's real. So we'll give you the most real thing we can. We'll take human life." And so anytime you're dealing with anything that's taking human life, you're dealing with propaganda. You're dealing with something. All propaganda is getting you to devalue human life. It's getting you to watch that football game and to be mad because your player got and to get mad because your player got a penalty for giving somebody a concussion, which really it was a clean hit. Why are we so into watching people get concussions? Right? There's a culture behind that. Somebody snatched something from you. Somebody has snatched some type of humanity from you to where you believe that it's okay to be upset with a penalty, not upset with the fact that somebody might not ever be able to think or walk the same again, or that a piece of their life or years of their life have been taken, or that their brain has now been part of it has been made into mush, and they may or may not even become great again at thinking. You're not concerned about that. You're concerned about the fact that they got a penalty that might mean your team might lose the game. We have lost the ability to champion the right thing. We are thinking gladiatorial games because you think that it's more important to be a champion than it is for that man to walk correctly. You think it's more important that Beyonce got up when she finished dancing rather than thinking about the fact that how much money did it take to be able to put on this whole extravaganza for her to put on this show, and how many people that are outside the show can't eat tonight. It's more important for the champion than it is for the people. And we champion the wrong people. It used to be that hey man, you know what? Hotep was a great cat because he built things and made sure people could eat and made sure people could be housed and clothed. That's why you loved Imhotep. That's why people say Hotep to this day. But now you're just more concerned about Hotep being turned into some Netcher or a version of a Netcher that people worship, and you don't care about the fact that he did things for his community to be able to get there. We lifted him up because of what he did for the community. But realism, a system of what is real, is always denied by fanaticism, a system that's based off of what you're a fanatic of. And if you're a sports fan, right, you'll look. If you're a sports fan, you can have somebody in your team that legit. If you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan, you probably forgot or don't care about when you're watching it, right? You probably forgot that you had old boy on your team, on your squad, that was beat, that broke the arm of his own child. You probably forgot that. You know why? Because it doesn't matter as much as making sure that he catches a ball and goes in the end zone. You probably don't even care about the fact that Patrick Mahomes has a fiance and a little brother that keep doing some of the wildest and most crazy and perverted things to people all the time. But it doesn't matter to you because her husband scores touchdowns with his arm. This is the system that they want us to uplift. This is a Machiavellian system, Machiavellian system, Machiavelli, excuse me, used to teach that you could not be a great person without being a bad leader, and you could not be a bad leader or a great leader without being a bad person. Is that our culture? Is that somebody else's? But we're taught to lift up bad people. The worse a person you are, the better a leader you are. So hey, we expect that you can't be, even though LeBron James isn't perfect either, but we act like, so I'm gonna just use him as an example. You know, we act like you have to be LeBron James, or you can't be LeBron James from where you want teammates to get involved and you want to make sure that you are putting your marriage first. And even though there's rumors of stuff like that behind the scenes, but nevertheless, like we act like you can't be that. You don't have that. They say you don't have that dog. You don't have that killer. You're not trying to make sure that you don't care. You want to rip the heart, as Stephen A. Smith would say, you want to rip the heart out of somebody's chest, foolishness like that. If you don't want to do that, then you're not considered to be great. If you're not doing that the way that they want you to, you're not considered to be great. How dare you want to be somebody who treats people with respect? How dare you want to be somebody who's out here taking care of your teammates? What is wrong with you? Why are you trying to live that type of life where people get respect? Fanatics. Jordan won by making sure that he was somebody who was a sociopath and a psychopath and all these different things. Okay. Nobody won before him without doing that. There wasn't a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar who was out there taking care of the community. Even if you don't like Wilt Chamberlain's politics, some of you don't even know if Wilt Chamberlain had politics, what they were. But he was out talking about political views. Bill Russell was somebody out here making sure that he was taking care of people like Muhammad Ali. Jim Brown was somebody being the greatest by making sure that he was taking care of his community, and would later be the person, even though you might say he has warped perception on certain things, I think he was just taking advantage of, but like by Donald Trump and stuff, he was also somebody that was out there ensuring that he made sure the Crips and Bloods stopped fighting in the city of Cleveland, had them sit down with each other. But we've been taught that it's not that to be a champion, you can't take care of yourself. You can't take care of your community. You can't show love for your brother, your sister. Rhonda Jones said, yes, they showing us getting unalived on social media forever, but not them. That's a great point. How many times you seen, people that don't look like you, getting shot on social media? But you get so used to it now that when somebody says it, it's like a mixtape. Somebody come out with it, you're like, oh, I gotta watch that for myself. It's hard for me, brothers and sisters. As much as people want me to talk about this stuff, it's hard for me to watch my brothers and sisters keep getting killed over and over and over again. Like, I felt guilty. People wanted me to watch. One of the things that actually, kind of got people to notice us, I didn't mean it for it to happen, but one of the things that took us from like being kind of sort of there to where a lot of people started watching us on Kofi underscore 42 before they pulled that one down was the brother Arbery, brother Arbery. And when they killed him, uh, and I was trying my best to watch it, I couldn't bring myself to do it. And I was crying because I felt guilty. And I shared that with everybody. Like, it was a place I felt guilty. I really did. I don't anymore, but I felt really guilty and sad. And think about how we think about this, right? But I felt guilty because it's almost like when your brother or your sister gets killed nowadays, it's like you're supposed to watch it almost like a monument to them or like a testament to them, you know, like you're supposed to watch them get killed. I couldn't do it. I still haven't watched it. I think I watched almost like right up to when they shot him, and then I had to turn it off. I still haven't watched it. Can't bring myself to watch it. Don't think I need to watch it. But that's what our oppressor does. We're like, you feel like you got to watch it, and it's something that it should devastate our soul. Evident by the fact that we worship our oppressor. Everything we've been taught backwards. What's wrong is considered to be right, and what's right is considered to be wrong. Most deaf. So Tiger Woods' silent entry into the Gold Hall of Fame. Yeah. Well, there's stuff going on with him on that too, as far as like he's put himself in a position he wants to fit in with somebody else, but wants to wants them to recognize him, and that they won't recognize him. I mean, heck, they tiger proofed all the golf courses to make sure that he couldn't win. That's why nobody can really get high scores in golf anymore. Thanks for the little chill pill. If I didn't say it so earlier, brainwashing, MK Ultra. Ukraine is a distraction. Yeah, it's all a distraction. Yeah, don't worry about COVID anymore. Yeah, don't worry about that. I was somewhere recently, I think in Baltimore, and I was used up there. I had actually gone through that area and tried to leave that area and not go around that area too much when everything started happening with masks and stuff. And we went to some other places that we have as far as land to be on, and we were able to like enjoy down there, whatever, because I don't, I wanted to be somewhere where I could be away from everybody telling you this or that and everybody being in fear and being afraid. And I didn't have to go anywhere. I could just be, to myself. I'm an introvert anyways by nature. But but yeah, nowadays, I went through there the other day and went to a hardware store somewhere. I want to say it was a Home Depot or something, maybe a Lowe's, but I think it was a Home Depot somewhere, and went there and no mask. Uh, you know, everybody was freaking out and this and that, but you go in there no mask, and I was like, all these people that are here, whatever. People even if they're wearing a mask, is hanging down, nose hanging down, this and that. I was like, all this stuff really, people have had their life controlled now for going on 2 years. For what? Like what is really the difference? Everything's still going the same. Everything's still monitored the same. It was just something to get you out. How you doing, Sister Lori? He said, I feel the same way with so many of them that was killed. I tried to watch the George Floyd, could not. Yeah, I haven't watched George Floyd in real time yet. I watched it fast forwarded, and that was I watched it be fast forwarded, and that was enough. and I still don't even think I made it through the whole fast forward. But I can't. I still haven't watched it. I don't think I ever will. You said it's about fear. How many times you seen planes go into the towers? Yeah, most that. Said I hate to even watch fighting of any kind. Hmm. Watching people die is not right for the mind. It's not, and that's why they have you. They have people watch people die all the time. We call it movies, right? I mean, we call it movies, but real talk, like they have people die all the time. Like for real, for real. You've been watching people die. You just watched Arnold do it, or Sylvester do it, or something like that. So you didn't really think about it, but they have people die all the time on these things, and we don't even think twice about it. We just go, oh yeah, so and so's supposed to die. That's the bad guy. That's the villain. We even go and best movie death ever. We'll even watch stuff like that. It's crazy how much they got us on this stuff, and we don't think twice about it though. We're not supposed to. They tell us we're not supposed to think about it, so we do what they tell us. Once again, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. You're not supposed to. And for those who are on the podcast, it's probably going to get ready to end soon. So you can feel free, as always, to come to another platform and join us. Thanks for being on with us. We really appreciate you all. We'll be on TikTok and YouTube for a little bit longer. I really don't have too much more to say, though. But just talking about, champions today and kind of using this to review our 12 Pillars of Wisdom series to show why we need this wisdom, because the things that they champion is not what we want. And things that we need even are not the things that they'll champion. You said I watched the one with the brother that got stopped with the car and his family. I can't see another. Hmm. You said that's why they show us in real life, but not them. Yeah. Yeah, yes, but everyone side-eyed me when I told them I wouldn't wear a mask. Yep. Said I feel the same way with so many of them that was killed. I try to watch the George Floyd thing. Oh yeah, okay, we read that. Yeah, so once again, it's like more of the same, and people don't want to be honest about it. And once again, like it's cultural though. You're dealing in a culture, right? Like you're dealing in a culture where you're gonna go. And I say this every Sunday. I feel like I say something similar to this every Sunday. You're dealing with a culture where you're gonna have a bunch of people that are gonna show up to a place today and say that they worship the Most High, and in worshiping the Most High, will tell you that they believe that we should ignore what's going on with our people. Salah, Salah, right? You're dealing with a bunch of people that are going to go to a service today, right? Probably in services right now. Some of them right now, depending on when they start. Some of them went to early services in the rising, and they're going to sit there and they're going to go through all these things to tell you why what you're going through doesn't matter, right? Why it doesn't matter. Thank you, Bounty. Right? Why it doesn't matter. Why when some glad morning when this life is over, you'll fly away. But while you're here and the kingdom's supposed to be in you, they won't tell you how to connect with the kingdom around you, because that's not what is championed in this system. You said they don't worry. They don't just worry about your people, but all people, as if worrying about your people is wrong. Yeah. They're going to tell you about all this stuff. And some of the ministerial staff was talking about that yesterday. I think especially Minister Select Sonia brought that up, if I remember correctly. Or if I recall correctly, excuse me. However, in Shalom, Sister Deborah, thanks for coming on another platform. But yeah, and all this stuff, and people are going to show up and they're going to say, give your tithes and your offering and serve this and do this and blah blah. And in the meantime, though, I'm supposed to go right back to my society with the kingdom in me, and the kingdom of heaven is going to suffer violence, and the violent are going to take it by force. But I'm not supposed to do anything else. I'm not supposed to have any system in place that's going to help me. Amen. Perfectly imperfect. It's truth. right? I'm supposed to go through the same system, and I'm supposed to champion the same thing, right? Everything's going wrong, but Sister So and So got a brand new car. We praise Yah, right? Sister So and So though is already struggling in her bills. Maybe we should have made sure we helped Sister So and So learn how to save so that she could have just bought a car for now and made sure she could have got her bills on track, right? But no, we're gonna say praise Yah, she got a new car, but she about to go into debt. She already in debt. She's a slave. When we gonna say, Sister So and So, hold up, can we do something to help you so that you don't have to keep getting yourself further into debt? But see, that speaks too much to to have a right cause. We don't make that she's not a champion, she doesn't get out of debt. She's a champion if she goes further into debt. Why? Because in this system, you got to be in debt. That's what they call good credit. They say if you got great credit, they say that means that you go into debt really well. And when you go into debt really well, they'll give you a better credit limit, which means you can be more of a slave next time. And they'll be in church praising Jesus. She don't know how she gonna pay off the car. She doesn't have anything set up to where if she loses the job, she's gonna be able to pay off the car. And guess what? All of a sudden she loses the job. And now all of a sudden, well, Jesus, he knows what he's doing. What if it wasn't Jesus? What if she just got a new car? And what instead of praising Jesus, we said, hey, you know what? We need to go to the Most High and figure out what's going on with this and set up an environment to where she doesn't have to be doing this. He said, yeah, I said that after buying a motorcycle, should have invested. Yeah, that's funny. For whatever reason, I didn't remember you had one. Maya was telling me the other day about motorcycle and stuff. I was like, motorcycle? I didn't remember Sister Sonya had a motorcycle. Or Minister Select Song, excuse me. Driving a Benz without no garage to put it in. Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of homeless people. What do we champion? Yeah, he can deal with those things. Even sovereignty can take place if in jail, but it's gonna be a different process. It's gonna be harder. And there's some things he's gonna have to be willing to do or not do. And probably get in trouble for. But it depends on what he wants to do. Yeah, but we can talk about those things. Oh, you had a Harley? Okay. Oh, you had a Harley? And one day I want to get a Harley. I don't think mine wants me to have a bike at all though. But one day I want to get a Harley though. I don't want, I did a little tiny bit of the crotch rocket thing when I was younger. But now I just want something that every once in a while I can just be by myself and ride down the road. I don't even want nobody else to be on there with me. Right. It might just be in the middle of the day on some country road. Every once in a while I might get out and ride. That'll be years down the road that I ain't ready for it yet. He said he giveth and taketh away and put it on that, which is true, but I don't know. Well, I'm just like this, Yah giveth and he taketh away. Sometimes I feel like we give him credit. It's like when we give the devil credit, the devil made me do a type thing, like, stop crediting him with stuff. He ain't got no power. You know, sometimes we give Yah credit for things too. Why do you cause all these bad things to happen? Why won't you give me a marriage and stuff? And the most I was like, I didn't even tell you to get married in the first place. I didn't tell you you were qualified. That's why I wrote it down in some laws and I gave it to you. I said, read them. But we'll give him credit. It's the same thing. So like you got bad credit and you want to give that bad credit to the Most High, and you're like, pray. It's like when people eat food, right? We know for sure we eating the wrong food, and right we about to eat nothing but I don't know, Sugar Smacks or something. I don't know, Sugar Smacks, Count Chocula. I don't even eat those. That's not even my favorite cereal. I like more plain cereal even when I was a child. But nevertheless, we about to eat nothing but um, I don't even know names of cereals in all honesty. I see fruity pebbles. We're about to eat fruity pebbles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, all day, every day for 21 days straight. And we pray over the fruity pebbles every day. And then we get sick and we say, it's like when I prayed and so, well, you know what? It must just be that he wants me to be able to make it through. He's just testing me in this moment. Could it be that you no, it could have just be that you ate some stuff that is makes you sick and causes disease. And because you wouldn't be on the kingdom eating plan, you have to go through some stuff now. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We might have lost TikTok. I guess we did. Wow. I guess we did. Wow. Mm. Wow. Well, anyways, so we're going through all these different things or whatever, and we're not able to comprehend that, right? At the end of the day, um, dealing with all this frustration and pain, we're not able to deal with it at the end of the day, and we're being very dishonest about what's going on, and that's really the issue more than anything else. That's really our issue is that we're having very dishonest conversations, a very dishonest thought process concerning this because we know that we should be better and we're not. And we know that, the reality is this is on us. And we know the reality is that we should be better, we should do better, we should grow better, we should know better. And it's on us. And we always have excuses with everybody else from everybody else as to why it is that we're not able to grow. And if we just if somebody would just allow us, if something would just allow us, if situation would just allow us, if society would just allow us, and it's like at some point, when does it become our responsibility? When do we take accountability for it? At some point, when do we take accountability for it? Mm. At some point, we have to take accountability for it, and we don't want to. That's more the problem, is that we don't want to be accountable. We don't want to be held accountable. We don't want to speak on things. We don't even want to hold each other accountable. If we keep it 100. I'm sorry on TikTok. We lost you guys for a second. We got you back though. Yeah, sorry about that. But we don't want to be held accountable. Right? At some point, we got to be held accountable for what it is. To always looking for a mess to be blessed, make it make sense. Yeah, you know. I apologize. I can't go back, but so far, so if there was a comment or question concern I didn't get to, you might have to redo it or reestablish it. So but it's just the reality is that we're in a situation, we're in a position where we have to at some point say enough is enough. We got to stop saying that what they champion is what we should champion. We've got to stop saying that what they're teaching us is what we should what we should teach ourselves or teach our children. Did I answer about sovereignty? Yeah, I answered that, I believe, before we got off. We're basically about your son, and I was saying, yeah, your son is probably going to have to take care of some things, as far as certain things that he'd have to do within himself is going to be a different road, and a difficult road. And if he did do, I don't know if he did or didn't do whatever, what it is that he says or how much of it or whatever, but stuff has to come out as far as everything in life. You got to be truthful, and you got to be able to go into a different crowd and make sure you get away from benefits or privileges. So didn't miss too much. But basically, like, at the end of the day, um it is what it is. We have to be real about it, we have to be honest about it, we have to be willing to have honest conversation. Baba Kasha. And that's one of the things that we dismiss is the need, the necessity of the honest assessment. And a lot of times we can't have honest assessment as far as what we need to do or where stuff is or where stuff needs to go, because we won't be, we are so busy, we're so busy fighting to be champions according to somebody else. Yes, Sister Barbara. Yeah, I answered it before we got off, and I made sure I answered it again. So they said Tada. I think it was Sister uh, Kimberly. So I'm pretty. So I think we got that one. Thank you though for making sure that you gave me the reminder. Sorry, I'm trying to. Yeah, we got to be willing to do the hard work. And so sovereignty. That's why we say, like, sovereignty is not just going to be okay. I got my DS11. For those of us who were going to set up your appointments for this week, sovereignty is not just going to be as simple as, okay, I got my DS11 done. It's deeper than that. You know, it's not just going to be up, okay, I got some land. It's deeper than that. In order to be sovereign, like you'll comprehend this, right? It's like we say, be in the system, not of it. You're a holy nation, royal priesthood, chosen generation, a peculiar people. You'll find that when you become sovereign, you stop hanging up with certain people. Like, have you noticed, like, when you get into truth and stuff, you can't be around certain family members anymore? It's going to be the same thing. And that's why you have to get around like-minded people. It doesn't mean we ignore our families. It doesn't mean that we don't support our families. It doesn't mean that we don't have anything ever to do again with our families. It doesn't mean that we have to let go of every friend for the rest of the seasons in our lives. But there are going to be some things that are going to have to change. Like I said, my wife and I, we're coming up on a very big milestone next couple of years as far as marriage for a particular, very specific reasons. And those reasons are something that's more personal now, but as we get to them, we'll probably release some or whatever, and some of you guys will be you know let in the loop on some of our stuff. And had you asked me when we first started together being married, if I would even think that I'd be sharing that part of our marriage with other people, and definitely my wife wouldn't, because she's more private with this stuff, and even we would have both told you, like, you're crazy. We would have might But the people who were invited to the wedding, and people who we thought had to be there, and people who we thought were like-minded and all this stuff, a lot of them are gone. Because when you're living in a different mindset, you have to create a different environment. And not only creating a different environment, many of us create an environment, but we don't live in it because we're still busy trying to be champions in the world. But when you have your own environment, and you got your own gold, silver, and bronze medal, so to speak, to be able to give to people, you live different. My reward is not what other people's rewards are. That means that we're not going to run the same race. To everyone that came with you, don't have to leave with you. There you go. That's really what happened. We kept telling people vision wise, this was going to happen, this was going to happen, this was going to happen, and people saw the progression and still wouldn't release from what they were dealing with. And so, there was a time in my life where I would have been saddened by that, and I'm not going to say I'm not saddened at all, but where I would have literally broke down and wouldn't have been able to move, and would have blamed myself. But you can't. Because once again, we're running the same race, and we're definitely not trying to get the same reward. See, watch this. The person who's trying to get first place, they're going to run fast and this and that or whatever, right? But the person who doesn't care about first place, they just care about finishing. That's a whole different thing. They don't care if they're booed. People saying, "Boo, you're running slow." Well, I don't care about running slow. I'm trying to finish. Okay, chill, Phil. Living Water said, sometimes it's hard to talk to family about the truth. I feel I'll be leaving some of them behind. And you might have to. Prayerfully, it's just a season, but you might have to. Yeah, yes, I've been sort of straddling the fence by not officially leaving my family slash home church. Yeah, I get you. It took me, like, really, even though I could say technically we weren't really involved in stereotypical church anymore for like maybe 5, 6 years ago, but even up until we're really 2020, we were kind of done with it, but up until like the part of 2021, we were like helping people out who were going through issues and stuff like that, and trying to help people run their stuff and trying to teach people some truth and things. But finally we had to release it. So I'm not acting like it's something that's easy, but and it gets to a certain point where it's like we couldn't do what we're doing now had we continued to be in there. I'm not saying, no, it's every person's choice is their choice, and I'm not saying every church is evil. I'm not saying every church is bad. I'm not saying none of that, right? I'm telling you, know the tree by the fruit. And after a while, the fruit wasn't what we needed to be. We needed some potassium, and we were trying to eat apples. And apples got a little tiny bit in there somewhere, but it ain't got as much as the bananas. So we needed some bananas in our lives, and we had to figure at some point what we needed in that season. Bananas and apples. Not only do they grow a lot of times, and seasonally different, but also a lot of times they're not going to be planted in the same place. So we had to make a decision. You know. You said, I'm strolling as slow as the day rolls. I've seen the length of this eternal track. Being shunned by your community is not easy, but maybe necessary. Yeah, and once again, always just focus on truth eternal, right? Etymology. Not having to have eteos, which you get the truth, but etymos, right? What the word comes out of, the culture it comes out of, right? And then put eschatology with it, as we've discussed in this series, right? Put that with it. When you study what will last and you study what comes out of things, you'll always be ahead of the game, right? When you study those things, you'll always be ahead of the game, right? Period. And so those are the things that we have to recognize and to be about and to be consistent in and within. Amana or Emmanuel. Praise Yah that the ignorant will not be condemned. Everyone will have a chance to know Yah. Aman. And that's part of our responsibility. Matthew 24, verse 14. Stop talking about at the end of the day, see, it's the propaganda. Matthew 24, right? They asked Christ, what you were talking about the last days, Christ? What's going to happen in the last days? What do we need to look for? He said, okay, check this out. Stop talking about wars. Stop talking about earthquakes. Stop talking about floods. Stop talking about pestilence. Stop talking about not being able to eat. Stop talking about crooked politicians. Stop looking for people to say they're the next Messiah. Stop looking for this, that. He said, look, when you preach this interpretation of the word of Yah to the world, to the system, and everybody hears it, he says, that's when I come back. It's all propaganda. And people want you to go ahead. Well, what do you think about this? And what do you think? And can you tell us about what you think about the children here? And can you tell us what you think about Africa and if Africa will ever come? Look, all that stuff means something to me, but I've got to come from contextual facts. I'm not going to opine. I'm not going to give you opinion. Let me give you the interpretation. This is what it's interpreted as. This is how we should take it, and take it or leave it. Take it to the bank, right? You take them checks to the bank. I'm going to give you some stuff that's more important than the check, right? Peace in your life is not going to come because somebody paid you. Peace in your life is not going to come because somebody patted you on the back. Peace in your life is not because somebody can make you sexually satisfied. Peace in your life, peace in your life is going to come from the relationship with the Most High, the Eternal, the one who spoke the sentence, because that's what a universe is. Universe is a universe, spoken sentence, right? You got to look to somebody that's above all that. All the other things they come with it, but first seek ye first the kingdom of Elohim, and everything else that you were looking for is going to be added. Everything. When he said everything, he meant everything. Everything you've been looking for is coming. If we keep looking for everything instead of looking for the one that provides everything. If somebody said everything, you're gonna take care of everything. Right? That's why one of my favorite scriptures, surely greatness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Adon forever. The word house also meaning family. Why is that such a great verse? It's one of the ones I used to teach a lot out of, because if you can reverse your thinking, you'll realize that you haven't, if you can reconsider your thoughts, what you'll come across is you'll recognize that many of us, and I'm sorry, I got something going on my lips today. Nevertheless, you'll recognize that, forgive me, da, 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 da. Oh, you'll realize and you'll recognize that you reversed what it says. You think in your mind, because you've deemed it through somebody else's prism, you deem in your mind that you are supposed to chase after things that are great and things that cause mercy, the things of Elohim, right? But if you would simply do the principles and follow the law and follow the universal law and the natural law and the kingdom law and the marital law and the laws of attraction and the common law and the laws of first mention and the admiralty law, et cetera, if you would learn what protects your rights, then all those things shall follow you. Read Psalm 23, verse 6. It doesn't say follow the things. It says if you're in position, the things follow you. And if you would follow the Most High, if you would eat where the grass is green already, stop looking for it's greener on the other side. He said, no, eat this grass right now. Right? He stopped looking for the still waters or the calm waters. He said, I already took you to them. Stop looking for other ones. Like, go where I'm telling you. It might be calm there for a second, but I promise you, even though it doesn't look calm, start drinking out of it. See if I don't calm it when you drink out of it. There might be nutrients here that you don't know about that you can't control. I can control everything. I created everything. And I can see everything. I know when it's going to go to being calm and when it's going to become a rapid again. I'm taking you to the rapids. In your mind, it's a rapid, but when we show up, you might not realize that the rapid becomes calm. You'll call it a phenomena. I knew that phenomena was going to happen, right? And we're busy chasing after the championship. You think that if I'm a champion, then I'll get all the things the champions get, which is great for a fleeting moment. But even champions have an issue because as they get older, people forget about them, don't they? So if your whole thing was to say, I won a championship, now everybody's gonna be thankful for me and everybody's gonna pat me on the back and everybody's gonna say I'm the greatest. If that's all you did it for, well, you have your reward. But all it takes 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years after you retire. Oh, thank you, Sister Beverly. 50 years after you retire, if that's all you were looking for, you know, you're gonna have a rough existence. If you married her because she had all the curves, and then she has your children, and and y'all together 30 years, she still have them curves and stuff, but maybe she don't. But she, she's a human being. She shows signs of being a human being, and you can't take it anymore. What were you chasing in the first place? So now you start chasing something else because you thought that the curves was what made you a man, not realizing that everything that was housed inside those curves is what made you a man, or at least not what made you a man, but it's what helped you in your journey of husbandship. You know, you put all your stock in the fact that he had the money, he had the cars, he had the clothes, he had this, he had that. Okay, now he lost the job. Is he still somebody that you love? If all you were looking for was the stuff that he brought as far as that, he still brings the same love and the same action. He still cares for you. What if he got hurt and he can't make the money he was making before? Are you about to go? Or is it till death do us part? I see you, Anubis. Right? At the end of the day, like were you chasing after the champion? This is what brothers say makes you a championship. So, my girl, everybody want my girl. And ladies, y'all get into stuff like that because you're used to immature brothers. So then you start getting older and you start questioning, does he still love you? Or does he still do this? Or will he still be around? You gain some weight and therefore you're self-conscious. So you think that he's self-conscious. The whole time he telling you, man, I'm here. I love you. I love you more than the day that we met. You can't even hear it though, because somebody put something in your ear that's not of your culture. Yeah, I hear you, Chill Pill. But we know what your situation is. You blessed, right? I'm just saying, we got this weird position, this weird thought process in our mind. Like the movie Just Right. I'm trying to remember Just Right. Is Just Right the one with Queen Latifah and Common? Is that one? I can't remember. That's the one? Okay. Yeah. People forget. People forget about you, you know? And sometimes you forget the people that were down for you, and Just Right too. Queen Latifah's character, and he almost messed around and lost that, and then she didn't realize that he was, and he basically was willing to give up everything, and then he didn't realize she was about to give up everything for him, right? So the marriage institution is fatally fractured due to the unwillingness to honor till death do us part. Most that, and even being worthy of till death do us part. Because we ain't asking you to die for anything. We asking you to die for kingdom. And it's not we, by the way, even though we co-sign it, but our co-signing isn't as important as the one who originally asked, which is the Most High. And he did death do his part, and then after death, still hasn't parted. How about that? He's just asking you to do death do his part. He said, I'm a die. He said, you're gonna die off to me because of sin. that I'm going to die for you because of love, and then I'm going to come back and still ride with you even after I die. Ain't that something? That's some death do us part. That'll preach right there. I might need to say that if I'm ever invited to speak in front of some church folk again. That's a message right there. You could take that message a whole bunch of places. Amen. Thank you, Ravak Hakodash. Hakodash. Right. However, that's all I really have today. Sorry about the signal going out, but we made it through on TikTok. Thank you to everybody who was on all the platforms today. I saw people. I haven't been doing this as much as of late, so I do apologize. But it looked like somebody was asking for our information, so I'm gonna put it above my head on YouTube, or I mean on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, you can just look in the description box for information to be able to get in contact with us or connect with us. Also, too, outside of this live, always know that you can just go on TikTok at any time, and you can go to our page, and you can just look up where it says bio to get some information about us. But then if you want further information on how to get in contact with us, reach out to us, etc., you can just be able to look where it says website. Click on that where it says website. That's our link tree, and then you'll see something pop up where you'll be able to look at us at all the links that we have out here. Thank you so much, Sister Shima. I saw you stepping up big time. Well, I know you always on here stepping up. Thank you for stepping up and doing some great work today. Minister Tamara, thank you for being on. Minister Nice, thanks for the great work you do. Minister Select Sonia, all of us on here, really, but I know you guys doing great things behind the scenes. Sister Austral, Sister Barbara, Shima, Sister Shima, Sister. Oh, I'm trying to say Minister Kevin. That's not who I was talking. Sister Sharice. All of us on here. The list goes on and on. I know there's a couple of you that say that you're willing to help out some, so I'm going to try and reach out this week. This week we're going to try our best. I believe I'm all right again. I feel so much better today. So, still going to take it a little easy today, but we'll try to get our classes back on track. If you're taking cryptocurrency, which is Saturday, and if you're taking Sovereignty 1 on Wednesday, we will not have physical class because we're going to try and set up appointments to talk to you all one-on-one regarding things that we need to do as far as your DS11 or things as far as setting up your crypto wallets. All right, so we'll do all those things together. But we won't have any class on Saturday evening. We won't have class at 8 o'clock p.m. Wednesday evening, but we will have class 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Wednesday for those who are taking Sovereignty 2. All right. So we'll get that together. So those who are taking basic Hebrew or Avda, we need to make sure that we get you those list of words. So we work on getting that together. We will try to make sure that there's more stuff sent out as far as what Minister Tamara has for us concerning this Passover season. And so we're thankful and grateful. If you're going to reach out to us at the numbers that are on here, please text us first if you can. If you want to call, just know that calls take us a little while longer to get back to you, especially with the volume of it, and especially since I've been resting for about a week. So not this week withstanding, we're usually pretty good about getting back to you, but it's going to take me a little bit because we got a week's worth of stuff to catch up on and other stuff going on. But if you're interested in stuff on land, classes, um, Patreon stuff, I got a whole bunch to catch up on that. Early Rising Bible Study session, which is tomorrow, Thursday Rising prayer. So if you got the email or text with the Thursday Rising prayer service information, you already have it. So at any time you can just search through your stuff to be able to check it out. So every Thursday, 7 a.m. Eastern New York time, we're on for prayer. And every Monday, early rising Bible study session at 6:30 a.m. Eastern. I'll be on. We start at 6:45 a.m. Eastern New York time though, with the actual lesson. So whether we send that out or not, you should have it in your email. If you don't have it in your email, we're asking you, hey, email us. If you don't have our email yet, you can obviously text us and we'll get that information going soon. But email us and let us know, hey, I need this, hey, I need that, and we will make sure that we send it to you. All right. So we thank you. We appreciate you. You can go to kofi-ofori.com on the website, kofi-ofori.com. You can look us up on all platforms at hashtag find Kofi. That's hashtag FINDKOFI. That's actually our YouTube channel name as well. And we give all honor and praise for everything that we talked about today. We praise the Most High, Yahweh Elohim. Please make sure you study this word so you can achieve not just being a hearer of it, but also being a doer as well. We look forward to oh, please make sure that you're support to my wife, the Honorable Maya. Once again, you can follow her on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not AND, but the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, biologist by degree, and she makes tinctures, natural medicine, as well as gives counsel to many different people for many different things. She also has changinlinesinitiative.org, which is a thing she does to help the community as far as clothing, and trying to extend it to even more than just clothing. She's also working on some things y'all have been asking her about, as far as even not just doing things natural medicine as far as the tinctures, but also doing natural medicine as far as sending roots, or she also does syrup and stuff as well. But also some of you have been asking about things as far as bracelets or stones and different things. So we're looking at possibly doing some things as far as that for you all. Um, so just let us know. And if you are going to be showing up with us October 14th through the 16th for the convocation, let us know by April 23rd. You got till April 23rd to let us know you're coming. We're asking you, as far as, not, this doesn't include travel, but we're asking you if you can, at least, as far as if you want to save up money, we're asking save up at least $300 or so. Our goal is to get as close to 150 though as possible. So whatever travel expenses and stuff outside of that, we're hoping to get it as close to 150 as possible. I don't know if that's per person or per group. We got to work that out, but we got to see who's coming, and then we can go ahead and give you information. If you want to know where it's going to be, just contact us and we can give you that information. We don't feel comfortable putting that out in public as of yet. Um, Other than that, check out Patreon. Other than that, continue to like, share, and subscribe if you go to YouTube, places like that. And Shalom MB. And thank you so much for everything. Those who are on Patreon, don't forget we have our special lives for you guys that start at 7 p.m. Eastern and then flow into our 8 p.m. Eastern, live with everybody else. So we thank you for all of you doing that as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out your way. Hopefully, some of you guys will start slowly getting some texts and stuff back from me. If not today, definitely by tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm probably not going to have anything scheduled specific to call somebody, but I will be contacting people, and it will be back on track. Thank you to everybody for holding it down, and continue to do so. We're excited, we're thankful, and grateful, and blessed for all these things coming up. Minister Tam is going to be coming up soon, I believe, on this Shabbat Shalom, to be able to teach. And then right after her, Minister Anais is going to be coming up on a live session on Monday, and we're going to continue to roll through this stuff together. So we're excited, and we're thankful, we're grateful for the opportunity to hear you guys and to listen to you guys, and you guys honor us with your presence and your go forward attitude and all that stuff, and we thank you so much. And we said it yesterday on the podcast, I'll say it again. You continue to inspire us, and we thank you for your inspiration. So we appreciate you, we honor you, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my leave. Hopefully you guys enjoy your day, and we're excited again and thankful for all the stuff that the Most High is doing in your life. So thank you again. We appreciate you again, and we wish many more blessings and things upon you and your family. And we hope that you guys continue to have an awe-inspiring day, as always. This has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember as always that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shabbat Shalom. Peace.